The quarterfinals are starting to take shape in Doha, Qatar. But tonight, we find our top 8. 5 teams will become 2 as the EA Sports Cup starts right now.
After 8 weeks of FIFA, it all comes down to this. Which teams in Group B will claim our remaining 2 knockout spots? Last time out in Group B, we saw the comeback of the group stage as RB Leipzig erased a 4-goal deficit to snatch the top spot from Team FUTWIZ. Whilst the Swedish FIFA duo Mkers put in a solid performance, earning 2nd spot on the table. But just 2 points behind them is Guild, led by the Iceman himself, NiKSNEB. And when every point matters, can Blue United make a run and determine who represents this group in the knockout stage? All our questions will be answered tonight, here on our final show of the year on the EA Sports Cup.
Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the EA Sports Cup. My name is Richard Buckley, joined by the magical Mike LaBelle and the brilliant Brandon Smith. I've been practicing that for about 45 minutes before we went live. Guys, Group B action. Brandon, I'll come to you first. Is it as simple as 4 teams for 2 spots? Can it be as simple as that?
Well, we tried to build the story last week with SPQR. Blue United coming with that same storyline, currently on 0 points. An upset could happen, and I'm all for it, but right now it does look maybe as simple as that.
We just saw some Japanese heartbreak in the World Cup, Mike. Are we going to see potentially something historic happen with Blue United right here, right now?
I feel like you're positioning me for, I'm going to cast some spells, I'm going to put something into the air, but they're going to need to win out. There's just no other way about it. They cannot afford to drop any points if they want a chance of stirring up this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got 6 out of 8 teams currently qualified for the knockout bracket, and this is how it is looking. Mike, I've got to come to you first for the left-hand side of the bracket. Talk me through Complexity Gaming versus PSG.
Oh, Complexity Gaming, only team in North America sitting on top of the bracket, going up against PSG. And then, of course, with this group underway with Group B, first place is going to be rewarded to go up against Tess and Diogo with Fnatic.
On the other side of it, Brandon, we've got Riders waiting to find their opponent. A guaranteed matchup, Focus against Team Hulk Ninja in Pyjamas. Couple of quick thoughts of you.
Yeah, I'd say probably that's the game of the quarterfinals so far. However, tonight, that might not be the game of the quarterfinals, depending on how it ends. But as we know, TGNIP, the only team that have gone unbeaten so far in the Cup.
And if the group was to finish right now, this is how it would look. Red Bull Leipzig sitting top on 8 points, Mkers on 7, FUTWIZ on 6, Guild on 5, and Blue at the bottom on 0. That sets up potentially some unbelievable matchups. RB Leipzig versus Fnatic, maybe.
Listen, I'll tell you what you need to do.
Okay,
get your popcorn at home, settle down, lock in. We have 3 hours here. There's going to be a lot of interchangeability there. 8, 7, 6, 5. Anything can happen. We've been here now week after week after week. We've seen almost the impossible.
Brandon, what do you think the points potentially could be as we see some shots of the players? Red Bull Leipzig sitting top at the moment. What's the point tally potentially that we're looking at?
Well, I think the lowest we've seen, Rich, across the last 3 weeks already is 12 points minimum to get through. What's more interesting is that RB Leipzig sit out of this first round, which potentially means that after 1 round of play, they could drop down to 3rd.
And just look at these shots here. Mkers, are they potentially the dark horses in this group, or are they one of the favourites, do you think?
I feel like they're not given enough respect, especially when you look at 2 players that have so much success. They've been teamed up previously, and individually, they're also guys that are in form when you're looking at the likes of OpTolle and Oliboli. But for whatever reason, maybe because they're a little bit quiet, the Swedes do not get brought up in the discussion nearly enough.
Well, we're going to bring them up right now because they're going to be our first featured matchup. Mkers against Guild Esports. Before we get into that, because I can see you salivating at the thought, Mike, Brandon, I want to chat to you. Team FUTWIZ against Blue United. 3 points are essential for FUTWIZ against Blue if they want to continue their hunt for a top 2 finish.
I mean, if it's essential for FUTWIZ, I wonder what it is for Blue United, because they're on 0 points so far. But we have to give credit to FUTWIZ. They are also the only other unbeaten team alongside RB Leipzig in this group.
Talk to me about Mkers and Guild. That's our opening match. That's our feature match. That's a premium match.
I thought you'd never ask.
Talk to me.
These are all the household names. This is one of the best openers that we're going to have. And also, the group can shift dramatically, whether you're creating separation if you're Mkers or the comeback is on. Guild's already put themselves in the discussion immediately.
And if you missed the last time that these 2 played, you missed an absolute spectacular event. Brandon, talk to me about this matchup. It was back and forth all the way through.
Yeah, well, I can tell you one thing, Rich. There were 7 goals in the game. It kicked off a little bit like this. 3 goals after 35 minutes. Mkers took the lead. Once again, Guild replied. And then after 85 minutes, the goals just kept on coming until this moment here. A little bit of a mistake at the back from Guild from the corner, unfortunately meant that they lost out on the 3 points. And it was the Swedes that took the win in that match. But as we said, they play in the first game tonight, hoping for revenge, our Guild.
They certainly do. If you've missed any of the previous weeks, this is the rules format that we will be following. A group standings with 3 points being rewarded for a win, 1 point for a draw and 0 for a loss. We'll be playing in a double round robin format. That means that you play every single person in your group twice over the course of the 2 weeks, with the top 2 teams qualifying for the knockouts January 16th to meet the other 6 already qualified teams. Brandon, we've seen the group, we've seen how tight it is. 1 point separating each team other than Blue United. It could come down to tiebreakers. Talk to me about the tiebreakers, because I'm still not quite getting it.
Yeah, either here, but you asked me to do it every week, so we're here again. There's 3 different tiebreaker format rules. We could come down to last week. We nearly did have to go to that, in fact, where it got so tightly contested in round 5. But these are the format rules. Number 1, total points in all matches among tied teams. Goals scored in all matches among tied teams is the second type of tiebreaker. And number 3 is goal difference in head-to-head matches among tied teams. Again, that could only happen if a number of implications happen, such as, the points are the same, which again is very unlikely, or not tonight.
Yeah, who knows what might happen. Well, we are ready. As you can see, we've lost a Mike LaBelle because he's been given the very important job of welcoming out our teams.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Brandon. That's right. We have Group B, and all we're missing are the competitors. We'll get this started, or this party started right proper. We're looking at RB Leipzig. You've got the current world champion with Umut, and then the wonder kid, as he's been built up, we have Anders Vejrgang. And of course, both these competitors currently come in with 8 points, leading the group. Next, we have the Japanese duo. We're looking at Blue United, EthxnH and Tess. And as we stated at the top of the show, really gonna need to win out to cause some havoc within the group. Following them, we have FUTWIZ, also undefeated, has not been talked about nearly enough, Ethan and NiKSNEB. Sure to be shaking things up. You see the new FUTWIZ kits on display. And then we have the Swedes. We're looking at Mkers between Oliboli and OpTolle. Fellas, come join me. Quick question before you guys get underway. We're seeing you face off against Guild. This is a highly awaited matchup. Last time 4-3, a lot of action. What are we in store for today?
Another win, we hope, but they're really good. They have Nicolas, who is one of the best of all time, and they have Sanchez, David, who is also super good. And they're both very good guys outside of FIFA, which is the most important thing in life. But I hope we win, and yeah.
Well, you heard for them. Go ahead and get situated, get set up. And as you got with a little bit of a tease, our final team, we have Guild, of course, led by Nicolas and dsaanchez. And before we get underway, a couple quick questions. First off, what is your response going into that game against Mkers? Everybody's building it up. It does impact a lot in the group.
Yeah, sure. Will be a really tough game against a really tough team. But yeah, let's see. They won the last time. We practice more now. But yeah, let's see. Will be really tough. Our group's really tough. Yeah, I think we are ready.
And the big question everyone always wants to know, we've done permutations and calculations. Everybody's trying to figure it out. How many points do you need to go through?
Nobody knows, but we have to go like step by step. We have 4 games and we want to win every game.
I'd love to hear that. Well, you guys go ahead and get situated, get set up. We've heard from the competitors. Everyone's been introduced. I think we have a countdown on screen. I see Brandon in position. I see Lisa in position. We're going to send it that way. Good luck to all the players in action today.
Thank you very much, Mike LaBelle. And yes, here we go then for the final week of action before the Christmas break. But before we get there, we have to find 2 more teams that will be in the knockout stages. Myself, Brandon Swift, and professional FIFA player of Esports. Lisa Manley joins me in the commentary booth. Lisa, you've been here a few times, but you're here for a very special occasion because it's knockout play today. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think, obviously, it's going to be a close game. We mentioned before, obviously, 4-3. I feel like when they played a month ago, there wasn't as much pressure because they knew they had a fallback if they couldn't perform. However, if you don't perform today, the chance that you're going to go home. Yeah,
and what's so good about this group is, yes, Blue United might not be in the conversation as of yet. However, there is a very interesting gap between first and fourth right now. That only being 3 points is, as I said in the build-up to today's games, Lisa, at the end of this round, which RB Leipzig are sitting out of, this group can completely change. I mean, RB Leipzig can find themselves in third, depending on how results do go, especially in our first opening matches.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like momentum is key and you need to get that first win under your belt, especially in the first game. So it's going to be a tough one. We know they're both very, very good players and individually probably the highest in this group.
Well, we've got 2 fantastic games to kick us off with today. Our game in focus will be Mkers against Guild. Here's a little fact for you. Last time they played, as you just saw, there were 7 goals in the game. We only hope that this time round there can be just as many here in the EA Sports Cup. We bring you Group B action here in Week 8 live. And we want to get you guys involved at home, as always, in the conversation. FIFA 23 Ultimate Team is the game mode of choice. And as we have got a little pause in place, so it seems you can see the FUT squads on your screen. Who is going to be the first goal scorer? At least I'll put you on the spot as well. 1 FUT player at home, let us know too. Who is going to score the first opening goal? I mean, we did this a few weeks ago. Mbappe scored after like 4 minutes, I think it was. Who are you going to say, Lisa? Are you going to go for an Mbappe or an R9, or are you going to spice it up a little bit?
To be fair, I was actually watching when you asked that last week, and I said Mbappe, and it did actually happen, but I think I'm going to have to go a bit boring. And it's going to be R9, isn't it? I mean, I saw Awarin on the pitch there. We know, obviously, the new World Cup hero card, and he's very, very good. But I'm gonna go boring. I'm going to say R9.
R9 Mbappe. I mean, I think last time I said Yaya Toure out. Unfortunately, he's never near it. I'm going to spice up even more. You know what? I'm going to give you a Ruud Gullit. You know, maybe off a corner. Maybe off a corner at most. I think we have just got a small technical pause here in our first opening game. Also, as this one kicks off, we have got FUTWIZ against Blue United. And as you can see on your screen there, we are back underway. Mkers from left to right, the Swedish duo. And of course, Guild Esports led by the current E-Champions League winner in NiKSNEB FC and his teammate new for this year, dsaanchez. As a team head-to-head, especially for Mkers, Lisa, it's their second year they've been competing together. Surely that gives them a little bit of an edge because they competed in the Team of the Season Cup. They competed in the FIFA E-Club World Cup last year out in Copenhagen. There surely is a chemistry there, and they've been national teammates too with the FIFA E-Nations Cup. So I think head-to-head, probably as a relationship purpose, these two of Mkers might just have the slight edge.
Yeah, exactly. We know they did obviously the FIFA E-Nations, and they're a duo that have been with each other for a while.
Could be building nicely. Here's Mkers' first real chance of the game. Someone said Mbappe, you might be right. I can hype up the relationship. The Mkers might have all I want. But Gil maybe just heard me and said, Brandon, just shut up a minute. 4 minutes in, Mbappe opens up his account. Guild, after 5 points from 12 4 weeks ago, looking to kick off with a massive 3 points. What a start.
Yeah, what a start. I definitely probably think against what people predicted if there was a prediction in the chat, but I think in general, I think that was a great goal, obviously, great pass into Mbappe, and he was always going to finish there, but we was talking about the chemistry between them, and you know, they've been with each other for a while, and that will definitely help them going forward, knowing how each other play.
Zidane finds Tullet, back to go Mbappe. This is Mkers looking for an instant reply here in our first opening game of the night. If you have just tuned in, this is week 8 of the EA Sports Cup. Well, it finds Zidane and tries his best just to power through. Just see there side by side, Lisa. One small change. You've got the partnership of Yaya Toure and Ruud Gullit, which is normally the case. On the flip side, Zidane Gullit. If you're in a situation of being one of these pro players competing tonight, what would be your two?
Yeah, I think Zidane definitely, because he can give you that sort of outlet going forward. You know, he's good at shooting from distance. I actually scored a goal with him when I was playing with Callum Hudson-Odoi, and it was from distance with a finesse shot. So I feel like he gives you more of an outlet going forward, whereas Yaya Toure, he can help going forward, but you're not really going to shoot from distance with him. So I think that's the main thing with Yaya Toure. But if you're sort of, the way you sort of play is defensive, then you'd probably use Yaya Toure over Zidane.
Lost the ball as well. It's normally the odd change in the back line. Looks like Cafu, Maldini, Virgil van Dijk and Capdevila on one side of the pitch. On the other side, Vieira comes into play. Runs it out of play, unfortunately. Mbappe there. Again, that's another talking point in itself, Lisa. Vieira or Maldini? Because Virgil van Dijk is a certain in there.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough. Obviously, I assume it's going to be the new Van Dijk card that came out. But it's tough because obviously I feel like Vieira gives you that sort of body type and how good he is defensively. That's why obviously you can either use him CDM or centre-back, but his body type really does help. He's strong and he's able to get in the way. Maldini, obviously, he's normally a centre-back, but I think it's just preference. I think for me, I definitely use Vieira.
Last time out these two played, by half-time we saw 3 goals. By the 90th minute, by a pretty controversial corner, we saw 7 of them. It was probably the highest scoring week, actually, when we saw this group, and actually in Group B. 39 goals we saw 4 weeks ago here in London. Only 2 teams remain unbeaten still in this group. One of them sits out in this round, RB Leipzig. The other one's in action, that's Team FUTWIZ against Blue United. Just speaking on that briefly, Lisa, how big is it for Blue United to pick up 3 points, especially after a heartbreak 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, I definitely think they need to get the win in the first game to definitely give them a chance of getting out of this group. You know, if they get a win now, 3 points, so potential chance of getting out of the group if they can, but they got to win basically potentially all the games, didn't they?
Well, speaking of that game, that is still 0-0 as it stands. So this is the group with that current scoreline in mind, which includes Guild winning this game now and Blue United FUTWIZ currently at 0-0. Could be 2 goals to 0. R9 can't unfortunately find a way through on that occasion. But we said there'd be movement in the table. Obviously a win here for Guild would move it ever so slightly, would put them on the same amount of points as RB Leipzig, who sit out of this round. They come back into the next round though to play Guild, which if Guild can get a result here, they're going to be full of confidence going into that big game, which if anything could be a deciding match in this group.
Yeah, exactly, and it's massive if they do win this game because, like you saw there, they go joint second or joint first technically. So I think it's massive, and especially if they can keep the momentum and get another 3 points on board, which will put them on 11 points. So I think, you know, I think generally over the weeks we've seen 12 points get out of the group. So if they can win their first 2, that's huge.
Especially for those teams as well that were so good in the first week of action. Talking 4 weeks ago now. That performance itself carried them through. For the likes of Focus that took it so long to get going. Here's R9 for a second great save, and the sub. Just keep an eye on the player curse, as you can just see in the white of Guild, the blue triangle above the player set, which he's just controlling. Sabio, I believe. Sorry, by Pele by the looks of it. Just in front of Van der Sar, that was Nicholas, and David Sanchez in control with that green triangle above his player's head. Here's Capdevila, this is Nicholas trying to outsmart OpTolle. Who is the captain of this team of Mkers with his teammate OpTolle. Sorry, OpTolle and Oliboli, I should say. Always begins with an O in Sweden. Olilito, OpTolle, Oliboli. They were all teammates last year in the FIFA Nations. And what a run they had there. Great to see this team still together. 40 minutes played. Only 1 goal to talk about. I can imagine this sort of defensive structure we're seeing here, Lisa, is something that's been engraved by Nicholas. He's a player that, as we know, reads the game so well.
Yeah, he's a very calm and collected player, you know. I think it's definitely very, very, very calm in and around the box. Every time he scores a goal, normally he doesn't get the praise he does. You know, every time he scores, he just calms down. He doesn't celebrate because he knows that it's not over yet.
This could be a chance now for Mkers. R9, brilliant save. Van der Sar had to be big, and that's what he was. If we're talking about chances so far, that's the best one they've had. And they'll be looking back on that thinking, how have we not put that one away? That was OpTolle. Had the golden chance of R9. It could be a heartbreak at the halfway point. No, he's R9 on a play. Mbappe finds his second. It's David Sanchez into Nicholas. And he spoke about reaction. There's no reaction on their faces because they know it's a long way still to the knockouts.
Yeah, but that's massive for them just before the half-time whistle there. You know, 2-0 up. Sort of simple, you could say, the pass across the box, but we talk about taking your chances. And on the flip side, Mkers are going to be quite upset with that because they just had a massive opportunity.
Well, there we go. Half-time here. Guild lead 2-0. There is one team that are out of this round and they're watching on, I believe, that RB Leipzig Umut is joined by Richard Buckley right now.
I certainly am, Brandon. I'm joined by the world champion. What are you making of what you're seeing? Different guild here today.
Yeah, they're playing really good. I think they're leading 2-0, and I think it's deserved. They have many chances. They play really good, and yeah, it will be really hard to play against them.
And there's only currently 1 point separating, as it stands, top and fourth. Any extra pressure for your match?
I think there will no extra pressure. We just want to win every game, and we just also want to win against Guild. It's our first matchup today, and of course they're getting a little bit warm. We are cold now, but hopefully we get very early into the game and not leading, not behind with 2 goals like Mkers.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long. Go and prepare because you've got a big game. Brandon, over to you.
Cheers, Rich. Great to hear from Umut as well there. What a team that is, by the way. The world champion and that Danish wonder kid, RB Leipzig, Anders. That team itself, Lisa, I was excited when I first saw them called out and that would be their team for the season. But to see them in action, to see how good they were 4 weeks ago, that 4-4 game against FUTWIZ comes to mind. When they were 4-0 down and came back, they're a really special side, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And most people at 4-0 down would think game over, but no, they had the confidence. As soon as they got that first goal, you sort of saw a switch and they started to actually believe in themselves. And I think that's what's massive for them. They have a belief in each other, and we saw that.
Back on the way in our game in focus. As we said, nothing to call upon in that FUTWIZ Blue United game. But this one is one-way traffic, and unfortunately it's not Swedish traffic. It's the way with Guild Esports. dsaanchez and NiKSNEB, who lead 2-0 so far, looking to get their revenge in the sweetest way possible from 4 weeks ago where they lost this tight. 4-3 from a defensive error from a corner. Big switch of play finds Capdevia, World Cup hero. That's how the table stands now. Nothing has changed since last time we looked. RB Leipzig Gaming obviously haven't played a game today yet. But the one thing that will be good for them, and importantly, so is that goal difference for Guild Esports. They only scored 8 goals 4 weeks ago, which still is a lot, but compared to the likes of Mkers and RB Leipzig, they scored 9 and 11. So those extra few goals can mean everything when it comes down to goal difference later.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't really focus when you're playing on the goals. You just got to try and get the winners. And that's what we're seeing right now. I mean, Guild, a massive performance from them. We saw it there with what Umut said, and he said that, you know, he's cold. He's not been playing, so obviously momentum will be on Guild's side, and I do see them potentially getting a result against probably the favourite to get out of the group in RB Leipzig.
Corner played short. This is Zidane and R9 looking to twist and turn. It is still just about in possession of Guild here. Here's dsaanchez. Great creative thinking in the box of Pele. Will win another corner. Remember how good Nicholas was last year in the E-Champions League from these set pieces. Yes, that was a 1v1 tournament, but nevertheless, I can assure you, there'd have been a few set pieces worked on coming into today. Keep an eye on this one. Pele whips it in. And if it was a little bit less powerful, that might have just fallen perfectly, Lisa, to Ruud Gullit.
Yeah, and that's definitely the one you want to be aiming in the box. You know, he's a great presence in the air and very, very close to getting a goal on the sheet, but unfortunately they wasn't able to get the extra goal there that they needed.
R9 finds Mbappe. Great feed from Mkers. They've not been able to get the shot away, but we spoke about Yaya Toure and his role and his responsibility in this team, and in the nicest way possible. It's just to get back in the area, sit on the edge of the box, and just to make things difficult there. He just got in the way of the animation of the shot coming in, because if Mbappe let rip there, I think we would have been seeing a goal back for Mkers.
Yeah, from what, like 6 to 8 yards out there, that was definitely going in if that animation wasn't blocked there. And I mean, we're seeing a pause here. We normally see in the 60th to the 65th minute a pause, potentially depending on, you know, if it's 2-1, 2-0, they might go constant pressure, press after possession loss, or just trying to get players forward, wing backs potentially. So we're definitely going to see a change, maybe a change in formation to try and get something out of this game.
Depends when that pause does come in though, because the ball probably stay in play for as long as it needs to if you're a Guild player. As soon as that pause comes in, you know what's coming from your opponent. Attacking changes, attacking press. Remember, these are only one matches, best of one matches these are in the group stages. There's no aggregate scoreline. Yaya Toure on the edge of the box. This is nice, finds Zidane. It could be 3 goals to the good if Guild could get this right. Oh, it's a little bit of a confusion at the back, Maldini. And Van der Sar getting their defensive clearances in a bit of a twist there. It was, in the end, a bit ugly, but they got rid of the ball. Another day, that could have been 3-0.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been a massive, massive boost going into the next game. However, 2-0 up, getting a win on your first game, that definitely gives them a lot of confidence. I mean, they're definitely playing a lot better than what they did 4 weeks ago, and it just shows it.
Just under 20 minutes or so left in this game. They have got the pause now. Obviously, as a pro in this position, Lisa, what is being changed? Obviously, only one player is inserting those changes, but obviously, we're looking at new players coming onto the pitch, but what tactically is being changed in terms of the in-game custom tactics on FIFA 23?
Yeah, they'll definitely change the strikers to, you know, get in behind if they're already not sort of wing-backs. Instead of staying back, they'll be going forward. And I think that's definitely what they'll be doing. Bit of press after possession loss to try and get that next goal. And if they do, maybe change it to constant pressure as well. So we're seeing on the flip side, it looks like they're going potentially farther back there. They need to try and keep this lead.
We heard a bit of noise in the background there, Lisa. That's because there's been a goal in the other game where we're just talking away from tactics here. Which way's the goal come? It looks as if it's gone the way of the UK Esports. Oh, what a ball that is, and what a finish from David Ginola. That is Team FUTWIZ off the mark with their first goal in the most important weeks of all in the knockouts that could be on the cards if they can get a top 2 finish in Group B today. They were unbeaten 4 weeks ago. They still do remain unbeaten, but their only win they got, Lisa, was against Blue United. They had 3 draws. That has to change this week.
Yeah, it definitely does, and they've obviously started off very, very good. And you saw the sort of relief, and as you could see, they're now top of the table. It's crazy how just one goal changes everything.
Quite literally, it does just that, Lisa. RB Leipzig that were top. Yes, we know they've got a game in hand, but Mkers were second coming into play. Now they're fourth. Ball into the box it goes. Van der Sar, 2 hands on it. And for Blue United, you hate to say, but as that time ticks down, their chances of qualification is getting less and less.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, it is the case. However, it would be good to try and see them spice a few things up, you know, maybe get a couple of goals to change this table in the next up-and-coming rounds.
As we said, we have still got 4 more rounds of action to come today. Each of these weeks of the EA Sports Cup, we give you 5 rounds of FIFA. What about this for a game? RB Leipzig take on Guild, in which could be huge in terms of this table, because it could be a chance just to gain some points. Because Guild are going to be on 8, and RB Leipzig are going to be on 8 points. Whoever wins that, we could be looking at a 3-point gap.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got to remember, in the next game, Mkers play FUTWIZ, and they've just come off on a win. And then on the flip side, they've just lost, so it'll be massive for that game.
Could be a chance for Eusebio.
For FUTWIZ to obviously get, you know, the 2 back-to-back wins to put them on good points. However, on the flip side, Leipzig Guild is going to be a massive game as well to see if they can get momentum and get 2 back-to-back wins.
But if Mkers were to lose this game, which I think will be the case, there's only about 4 minutes left. And we know in FIFA time that really isn't much time at all to try and claw back 2 goals. If they were to go and suffer defeat to FUTWIZ, when they played last time was a 2-2 game. That's going to be a really tightly contested one. The Mkers could be in a real spot of bother. Here could be a ball into the box to make it 3. They're clever, Guild. They know there's no rush to get things moving. They've got the lead. They're keen to keep a clean sheet, sorry. And with goal difference on the horizon, a +3 would be very helpful. Nicholas into dsaanchez. The rest is history. And Guild are off the mark with a huge 3-0 win here.
They're just looking like a completely different side from when we saw them 4 weeks ago, and that's credit to them. They obviously said earlier that they've put a lot of practice in, and we can clearly see that, you know, coming into this. I know me personally didn't predict that they were going to win, let alone be winning by 3 goals, so that's just a credit to how they're playing right now. Going forward, they're just clinical, and defensively, there's just no gaps in behind for them to be able to break them down.
And there's just something about this Guild team that Mkers can't deal with. It's the team that they've conceded the most goals to. They conceded 3 against them 4 weeks ago, and they've just conceded 3 against them 4 weeks on. That's round 1 done and dusted here at the EA Sports Cup. And Nicholas, the Iceman, back on London, back on his second home soil with his teammate dsaanchez, up by 3-0. What a start for them, and what a wake-up call that is going to be for OpTolle Oliboli. And how about this one, Lisa? We just had the result confirmed. FUTWIZ have just got 3 points on the board as well. Blue United, it's not looking good for them right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them at all right now. However, for FUTWIZ, it puts them top of the table, doesn't it? So that is massive for them.
Yeah, well, there's plenty more games to come as well. The table's moving, and it will continue to move over the next 4 rounds. But for now, let's head down to Richard Mike LaBelle. And I believe we're joined by a very special guest this week on the EA Sports Cup.
Brandon, thank you very much for the introduction. Richard Buckley, Mike LaBelle, and I know him as Ivan. You may know him as Dr. Nightwatch. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in the house.
The doctor.
You were here the week I was unwell, so it's great to be back on the floor with you. And we have to talk about Guild Esports. I'm going to come straight to you, Ivan, because from my understanding, there was Nicholas's long-term coach. He's parted ways with 3.5 years. They were together. He moves out the picture. Nicholas qualified for E-Champions League knockouts, and they've just won 3-0, something we didn't see at all 4 weeks ago. Talk to me about Guild, because they looked really, really good.
They did. And again, it's one of those, it's the best of one. They go 1 goal up. They have the individual quality in both players. So they managed to win 3-0. I don't think we should make such a big deal out of the coach not being part of the team anymore, because I don't think it's an issue of the coach. I think it's some personal issues. And 3-0, they started off well, and they want to keep it going.
Sounds like the doctor has an insider scoop. I'm just gonna throw that out there, but I think it's a statement piece. Say what you will, but 3-0, dominant in every single way. You saw beautiful work there with some of the extra passing, alignment. When I interviewed them earlier, they said, hey, our teamwork is better. We've been practicing more. We feel confident.
Well, you're taking a deeper dive into that game, Mike, with your analysis presented by PlayStation. We're all going to learn something in this piece by Mr. Mike LaBelle.
And let me set the stage for you with this N-line masterclass. We're talking switching of the pitch, finding those timing. You see both players moving and grooving, and they did such a good job of really holding onto the ball until you needed that final pass. You can't miss from here. Mbappe, turn, top corner. It looks simple, but you have to remember, FIFA is a simple game to a certain regard. You need to master the intangibles, and this is classic. Again, players, you have R9 attacking that space down the end again. Extra pass, pulls it back. And this is, again, just N-line on N-line on N-line. And they're automatic goals. I'm sure the doctor will tell us more about it. But when you're in these positions, you can't not convert.
I mean, if there's one thing you got to do, it's master the intangibles, isn't it? Ivan, you're impressed with those goals? Impressed with Guild?
I think it's FIFA 22/23 kind of meta. Just go down the byline, cut back, empty net. Mbappe there. Van Dijk should have got probably a second one, but Guild take it all day long. And they look really, really good, especially defensive-wise.
Well, there was another game taking place at the same time as that Guild Masterclass, and it was a FUTWIZ win, as the casters did say. We can see the goal here that sealed the deal against Blue United. That was a great piece of play inside the box, forcing the save. And Blue did have chances, though, Mike.
And I was going to say, I expect, as you see them hit the post, I expect Blue to take points off of someone. If not multiple teams today. They're not going to go 0 for like we saw previously. That came up when we saw SPQR in action as well. They actually impacted that group dramatically. As you see a missed time finish, but the volley, top corner, still the best corner. A little exchange of the nod. You saw some cheers. You felt those cheers. A 1-0 victory. And it's really important that you don't drop points to Blue United. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but that's just been the reality of this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Ivan, just a quick one from you as we see the official full-time results. How important was it for FUTWIZ to make sure that they beat Blue United?
Like Mike said, I think it's a storyline of not dropping points against Blue, who are not theoretically but practically out of the competition. So you want to win that game, start off with 3 points.
Well, we can have a look at the group standings as it currently stands. Team FUTWIZ on top. 2 wins, 3 draws, 9 points for those young chaps. Guild Esports, they sit themselves in second on head-to-head currently. Red Bull Leipzig in third, Mkers in fourth, and Blue United, unfortunately, not pleasant viewing at all. Things looking potentially a little bit blue for Blue United. We've got some games coming up for you in round 2.
He has the biggest smile on his face. He loved that.
It's going to be Guild Esports against Red Bull Leipzig. That's your featured matchup on the side stage. Bit of a personal one, this. Team FUTWIZ against Mkers. Both games are featured matchups. Both games are going to be incredible. And I really, really cannot stress you enough to make sure that you get back here for those upcoming matchups? Because, Mike LaBelle, these potentially could start to decide the group.
It depends what happens, but these are the deciding matches. If you're able to beat your nearest competition, you're getting yourself a little jump ahead real quick. And it definitely sets a certain tone. And again, your confidence, you carry that momentum. As you were saying earlier, these are single elimination games. You're playing everybody once. There's not a second leg. This isn't a Swiss series. It's not a best of 3. So what you do right here, right now, puts a lot of pressure on your opponent.
Well, what happens when you put the Iceman, the Wonder Kid, and the world champion all in the same room? And no, I'm not going to a joke. I'm going to round 2 of the EA Sports Cup. Guild Esports against RB Leipzig Gaming. Don't go anywhere. On the other side of this break, Brandon Smith and Nightwatch to take you through it.
The EA Sports Cup is presented by PlayStation Tournaments.
Compete in PlayStation tournaments. Win your share of cash prizes, FIFA points, and more as you face off in FUT and club competitions. Sign up for weekly and monthly tournaments on your PS4 console or at compete.playstation.com to test your skills on the pitch. Think you have what it takes?
PlayStation.
Well, welcome back to London for the EA Sports Cup. No doubt one of the most important weeks if you have just joined us. Myself, Brandon Smith, and the Doctor himself, Dr. Nightwatch, joins me for this game. What a game we have for you coming up right now. The Danish wonder kid, the world champion, dsaanchez, the Iceman, all in one room. It is Guild versus RB Leipzig. How excited are you for this one, Nightwatch?
Very, very excited, and I can't help but think, imagine being the world champion and you're not the main focus in your team. I think everyone talks about Anders, about Nicholas, so I'm very excited about this game.
Yeah, well, if you missed the last time they played, this is how it went down between these two teams. There was loads of goals in the game. I'll say loads of goals. There wasn't actually that many. There was only 2. This was the goals that were scored. It was RB Leipzig that went 1 goal to the good. That was Umut that scored that. And then, I don't know how that went in, but Nicholas wasn't complaining. He timed it green and it went to the back of the net.
I mean, he knows his spots. He knows his FIFA, he knows his finishing, he knows his shots, so expect more of that today.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. We'll talk more about it in a little while. Why is Umut not the star of the show in this team, so to speak? Because he is the world champion, but everyone seems to talk about one man, and it's not him.
I think you get a world champion every year, whereas a Danish wonder kid, or a wonder kid in general, you get one every 2-3 years. I think last main focus point was Tex, really, when you talk about wonder kids. So Anders has been talked about for now 2-3 years at least internationally. I know in Denmark he's been a big thing for 5-6 years. So with his first real EA event, talking point.
Yeah, well, speaking of Anders Vejrgang, if you don't know anything about him, check this out and learn a little bit more. "536 games without losing. It looks to be a double for RB Leipzig, but who has got the goal? Is it Vejrgang with it? A couple of step-overs, of course it is.
There's so much anticipation in the air for Anders Vejrgang's.
I know they will win every match.
Looking to do something historic after being 4-0 down on the Trevor. 4-0 to 4-4.
Who is captain? You or Umut?
I'm the captain.
Good. Captain over there.
Well, that's a teaser of Anders Vejrgang, because guess what? You get to see him in action 4 times tonight. You might even get to see him in action more if his team qualifies. They've got a very difficult game against a team that are joint on points with them. It's Guild Esports. Last time they played, it was a 1-1 game. What can we expect from this game 4 weeks later, Dr. Nightwatch?
I think Guild have started off well with a convincing 3-0 win. They have the experience, so to speak, because I talked with Nicholas backstage, and he said, first week we played, defending was different than what we were used to. We were not that good in defense. Now we feel better. Now we feel more confident in defense. And we've seen that against Mkers, who were arguably one of the favorites to make it through. Convincing 3-0 win. So I'm expecting few goals conceded for Guild, but against Anders and Umut, you never know.
One thing that we know about RB Leipzig, Andersen and Umut, Nightwatch, is that they played 4 games 4 weeks ago. They went unbeaten. They did draw 2 of them. One of their draws did come against this team here. RB Leipzig will be kicking from right to left in this game. There could be 1-0 up in the first few minutes. Penalty, referee, points to the spot. He spoke about defending. There might have been panic stations there from Guilds. And this could be a chance for Umut, the current world champion, to score from the spot. It's Huller that's over it. The composure's going to be right. Of course it is. Up steps Umut, and he scores. And just like that, it is the perfect start for the team that were leading this group at the start of play today.
Game plan out of the window. If you're hoping to get to halftime on a 0-0, a 1-0, conceding a pen in the 5th minute is not the way you want your game to start.
And what happened there? Is it just a case of a mishap of a button press there that was wrong, or was it just one of them you just look back on and you go, look, it was a mess, let's move on?
I think they got a bit fortunate in the box in terms of Leipzig. And then some panic station, tried to maybe go for that manual block with the tackle. But you mistime it, the shot goes off, you can see the pen. Simple as that.
You do not give a pen away in any circumstances, especially a week that means so much in this group. Here's Umut charging forward. Mbappe stops in his tracks. Unfortunately, if you are a Guild Esports fan, it's not the start they would have wanted. Dancing, Mbappe. Tried a shot timed in red. That's how the table looks right now. Remember, they have still got a game in hand, RB Leipzig, but this is more of a gap. This is an opportunity, Nightwatch, just to gain 3 points on some really difficult teams in this group, including Guild and Mkers.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's 2 main focus points for this group. First of all is not dropping points to the bottom team that currently is Blue United. It's kind of similar to the SPQR group. Last time I was here, we kind of had the same narrative. So I think 1, winning your game against Blue United, and 2nd, something that Team FUTWIZ has done very good, is even if you're not winning those games, do not lose the games. So even if you draw, it's better than going all out for the win. At least that's how it was last week. And you see currently FUTWIZ, they're on 2nd. They've not lost a game, like RB Leipzig, but they're looking good. So I think the main talking point in these matchups between the favorites is to not lose games.
Speaking of the other game that is taking place right now, it has kicked off behind us. We'll give you an update when we can. It's FUTWIZ against Mkers. Why that is so important is if Mkers lose, they just lost 3-0 to Guild. If they lose again to FUTWIZ, now they're making it difficult for themselves, Nightwatch, because they'll be 5 points potentially adrift from the rest of the pack.
Like I said, the main focus point against your rivals is not necessarily to win the games, but to not give them points, to not give them those 3 points that will open up the gap. Not only are you not winning points, but you're also gifting points. It's basically a 6-pointer. Every game is basically a 6-pointer between those 4 teams. So you want to go for draws and obviously wins, but I think you play it safe more than anything, and hope you clutch up at the end.
25 minutes gone here. It's been an aggressive start from the German side that were virtual Bundesliga club champions last year. This team exactly, Umut and Vejrgang. It was actually Anders Vejrgang's first real taste of competing when he turned 16. Played in that tournament, teamed up with the world champion. Able to bring home that all-important result, of course. The Gaucho also part of that team. Building for a second is Capdevia. Van Dijk goes down to ground, pushed off the ball. I've had to put you on the spot here, and if you don't want to give me an answer, you don't have to. In your mind, who qualifies from this group?
My prediction before the game started, the day started, were obviously Leipzig and FUTWIZ. I honestly think they should feel hard done by from last week's results. They played really well. Obviously, they threw a 4-goal lead against Leipzig. So if they get the rub of the green today, they should be going through as at least second in this group.
Speaking of that game, NiKSNEB, round 5 that one comes, the rematch, the repeat. It's the highest goal score game we've ever seen here in any of the weeks of the EA Sports Cup. It had 8 goals in it between RB Leipzig and FUTWIZ, and unfortunately, I hate to keep bringing it up, but FUTWIZ giving away a 4-goal lead. I'm sure you call that one from home, NiKSNEB. It was a bit of a shocking game, wasn't it?
I was watching that game at home, and I couldn't believe it. It was one of Anders' first game at an international level in terms of EA broadcast, and to come back in a best-of-1 in a 2v2 format from 4-0 down, it's probably one way to announce yourself at the biggest stage. So I'm looking forward to that last round.
And of course, we'll keep you up to date with the other game that is underway between Mkers and FUTWIZ. This one, only 1 goal to the good. There's been a goal in this one. It's gone the way of the Swedes, and by God, they needed that. Nearly. Over 3 halves of FIFA without scoring a goal. They'll be buzzing with that one. NiKSNEB to just find the back of the net. It's as simple as it sounds. Just to score a goal will give them a bit of confidence. And it shakes the group up even more. It is so tightly contested, this.
If, in theory, we see gaming, Red Bull Leipzig Gaming run away with it in terms of beating every opponent in every matchup, the most important thing would be between Team FUTWIZ, Guild, and Mkers, who takes points off of who. And right now, we could be looking at a win for each team and a loss for each team, one against each other. So I'm very curious as how these 3 teams play between each other. And then the most important games would be their games against bottom seed and top seed in terms of Blue and RB Leipzig.
Well, I think that's going to be for half-time in this game. Only 1 goal between them. We said there was going to be much in it after they drew 4 weeks ago at 1-1. The goal has come from a mistake at the back from Guild, where they gave away a penalty. They gifted a chance to Umut, I believe, who has got that blue cursor above his player head. They scored from the spot. And at half-time, they might be up by a goal to nil, but there is still so much time to play. Just looking at the stats there, you can just see 59% possession in the favour of RB Leipzig. Only 1 chance, only 1 real chance from Guild so far. What have they got to do just to turn it around on their head, NiKSNEB? Obviously score goals and create chances, but more than that, what have they got to do to try and sort of unsettle this RB Leipzig team?
I think they have the experience. I don't think they necessarily have to change anything. I think they're confident enough in their defense and their attack, because after the pen, we've not really seen a big chance for Umut and Anders. So they have to hope they score the next goal, and from there on, it's either an open game if there's a lot of time left. If not, I think you're looking at last couple of attacks, and ensuring a 1-1.
Yeah, one question for you as well. I think it was 5 weeks ago we worked together here at the EA Sports Cup. Obviously, the game has had a patch since then. In terms of seeing top-level FIFA gameplay in front of our very own eyes right now, what are some of the biggest things that we're going to notice across the course of today, and what we've already seen across the last couple of weeks?
I think the main thing you will notice in 2v2 especially is the wing plays. Pre-patch, it was really hard, even if you have an Mbappe or an Alawairan or a pacey player, to run down the wing and beat your man. Although in 2v2 it's one of the most important features, I think, because you never want to lose the ball in the middle of the pitch. After the patch, it's a lot easier to run down the wing and beat your man, and that, combined with the fact that in 2v2 it's one of the main ways to attack, is... We've seen it last game, Guild Esports against Mkers. Their first 2 goals to make it to go 2-0 up, wing play. So I think that's your main weapon, your main source of attack, source of action for 2v2 post-patch. So maybe that's what Guild will be going for. Just go down the wing, look for the cutback. Although I am sure Leipzig are prepared for it, but I'm expecting more wing play from Guild in second half.
Well, we're back underway for the second half here. That's a fortunate bounce back. It's going to fall kindly! You do not give them a sniff in the box, because every single time they'll punish you. And just like that, RB Leipzig lead by 2-0.
And it's typical. Step overs. Step overs, boost forward, far post, FIFA 23, very effective, very good goal.
we have a little bit of an update for you in terms of the standings in this group. We apologise, there was a little bit of a technical difficulty on it. Mkers would, of course, be on more points now because they are currently winning against FUTWIZ. But look at that, 11-10, 9-8. Again, that's as it stands right now. What's more scary, Nightwatch, is that RB Leipzig have got a game in hand still.
The only difference between now and how we started the game off is, again, as you said it, Leipzig have one game in hand. We're, again, 1 point difference between the top 4 teams. But Leipzig, I think if you've already played Leipzig, you want them to win every game until the end.
I just told you there for a second, Ivan, there's been a goal in the other game. Is it an equaliser for FUTWIZ or is it a double for Mkers? Oh no! It looks as if it was a bit of a mistake at the back and coming together. The Mkers are not going to complain about that. They lead by 2-0, sorry. And as it stands, the table will remain the same, but the goal difference may swing a little bit more. It could be 3-0 for RB Leipzig. Great save, Van der Sar. If that went in, unfortunately, I think that would be GG's in the chat.
I think in 10-ish minutes, next pause, time for constant pressure. Push comes to shove. Are you playing for goal difference, or are you playing to take off points of what I would say is clear favorites in this group? There's a wing play I'm talking about.
Keep in mind as well, Ivan, that would be the first defeat that FUTWIZ would have tasted. They've been unbeaten across 5 matches now in this group. They were superb 4 weeks ago. Obviously, as we know, they opened up their account to Blue United with a 1-0 win as well. So that could shake that FUTWIZ side, especially with the big games they've got coming up, because they still have got to play, we're talking really difficult matches against Guild and RB Leipzig. They're not easy games, and they would not want to be dropping points now.
Yes, they got the easy game, quote-unquote, out of the way, and they still have a round where they need to sit it out. So they're not looking in a good position if they lose this game, but then again, you have 2 6-pointers ahead, you win both, you're looking good.
Well, speaking of in-game FUT players, for a split second now, you spoke about one man in particular who's been your sort of favourite player on FIFA 23. I want to get you guys involved at home in the conversation. Who has been your favourite player that you've used on FIFA 23? You mentioned him briefly, a new FUT hero this year, Nightwatch. Who is it, and why are you such a big fan of, I might as well give it away, the Saudi Arabian?
I think Al-Awairan, post-patch, is arguably one of the best players in the game, just because of that sheer pace and good dribbling he has. His finishing is a lot better than you would initially think with his 86 shooting. And as I said, the wing play, post-patch, very effective. And it's one of those where it's a surprise package. It's not a player you would expect to be that good or a player you've used in previous editions of FIFA. So having that, I would say, fresh face on the pitch and in the meta teams and in the pro teams kind of makes it a bit more special when you play with those items.
Great to hear some of you in the chat as well get involved in the conversation. Flashback Messi. Even Edin Dzeko got a shout in the chat. Kareem the Dream Benzema. Back to this though. RB Leipzig still lead by 2-0 in their opening match here in Group B. Guild need a response, and they need it now. They needed a cutback there. Just left it a bit too late. That was dsaanchez. I think waiting for his teammate just to tease that one up. There's an attack now for RB Leipzig. They could make it 3-0. What a tackle from Virgil van Dijk, and as that one goes out of play, we hear there's been more goals in the other game now. It's FUTWIZ against Mkers. Which way has it gone? And it's a goal back for FUTWIZ. There's 20 minutes left in that one.
That is a copy-paste goal. The same goal that they scored against Blue United in the last round.
I'll tell you what, this could be game. This could be game, set, match. Mbappe off the bar somehow. Vieira just getting a knee on it. That was Nicholas at the back there defending.
Amazing manual block, amazing. Run the player far post. I think Red Bull Leipzig, they took a little bit too much time maybe in the box with the finishing. They expected the goalkeeper movement. Guild didn't move keeper. They waited a bit. They moved player on the line, and they did very well to block that chance.
I think that was Vejrgang that had the chance there. Had so much time and space for Mbappe. But look, Guild are having to go for this game, and now gaps will naturally start to appear. Mbappe against Vieira. The battle is still alive. Cristiano Ronaldo can't outsmart Van Dijk there. Time's not on their side, but as you can clearly see, Guild are going for the game. Cruyff's now on the pitch. They've got more numbers forward. Is there a goal back? Is there a way back in the tie for Guild? Nicholas dinks it into the box. His teammate's there. Lucio defends it superbly well. And if anything, it's just a bit of game management that's needed now.
It's easier said than done in hindsight as well. The half chance that Guild had maybe 10, 15 in-game minutes ago, I think instead of going for the cutback, if you green time shot far post, it is, in my opinion, 90% a goal. But they're way too used to the cutback plays, the wing plays, so they went for that and it got blocked.
They might be 2-0 up, but they don't seem fully over the moon with the performance so far. And I think there's such an interesting dynamic between these two, and I've seen it develop across the last few weeks, seen it in the back room as well between these two. Anders expects such a level from his teammate, which if you think about it in the other way, we're going off achievement so far. There's a world champion sitting next to you who just is sitting in his chair and just taking orders.
You can see that from the interview. Last time they were here, you guys asked Anders, who's the captain in the team? And you heard a very, very confident Anders saying, I'm the captain. Reminds me of that meme, look at me, I'm the captain now. That's how Anders is feeling.
No, they're just nodding and saying, look, however you want to play, I'll play. And so far, he has been the man that scored the 2 goals in this game. Guild, 6 minutes away. They need goals, they need a way back in the tie now! You can just see Anders celebrating that save. We've heard a roar in the other game. FUTWIZ Mkers, it was 2-1 last time we saw it. Corner into the box, Virgil van Dijk, he can't score, that's another corner. From Guild, 4 minutes left in this one. We'll jump over to the other game as soon as this one does conclude. What can we see here from a corner? Time's not on their side, they need to get into the box now. Defended well by Cristiano Ronaldo, who's always handy to come on late into a game, just so he offers you a bit of defensive prowess, how tall he is, how good he is in the air. And RB Leipzig just dealing with that again for now. 2 minutes left. Is there enough time? I really don't think there is. Mbappe, pull it, back inside, and Nkunku dispossessed. I think that's a GG, Ivan, surely.
At this point it is. If they had scored that that cutback chance, what, 2 attacks ago, I think they had a good chance, but now it's over. It's a question of maybe scoring 1 goal for the goal difference, but I think they're going to close it out.
Well, I think this is job done. Their first game back 4 weeks later. No question marks over the only unbeaten team left in this group. Alongside Team FUTWIZ, a massive win and a massive confidence blow from Guild, who just started off so well today. Back to square one for Nicholas and dsaanchez. This game is concluded, but there's one game that isn't. As of yet, at the time of this was the goal. 89th minute, FUTWIZ maybe getting the rub of the green with a cut back to Mbappe. I said RB Leipzig were the only team unbeaten. They're not, because FUTWIZ just snatched that in the 89th minute to remain unbeaten. And how about that? 4 weeks ago, it was a 2-2 result between Mkers and FUTWIZ. 4 weeks on, it's the exact same storyline. Fair play to FUTWIZ there for pulling that one back.
I think trademark NiKSNEB dribbling in the box there. I don't know the color of the cursors, but I would be shocked if that was Ethan and not NiKSNEB.
Well, incredible scenes here. As we said, round 2 done. There's still 3 more rounds of action to come, so don't go anywhere. But for now, it's over to Richard, who's joined one of those FUTWIZ players who just got that last-minute equaliser.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Yeah, it was all scenes down here with Team FUTWIZ. How big of a point is that, given how tight this group is coming?
Especially how tight this group is. Coming back from 2-0 as well against the team like Mkers, very good team. I've known it could come down to head-to-head. That point's massive, honestly. I'm very, very happy with how we came back in that game.
And obviously, the people at home will know a little bit personal. Did it mean that little bit more for you to get that late equaliser?
Yeah, especially against Mkers. Nothing against the players, but yeah, it did a little smile on my face that equaliser did go in.
And it was a great goal. We obviously, who was it who scored it? Yeah, you're known for that. You're known for the trickery inside the box. How hard has it been in these games to sort of, especially one leg, to get those types of chances?
Yeah, to be fair, we struggled all game. We couldn't really score. Things weren't going our way, but we stuck in deep, and we got a result at the end, which was deserved, I think. And it's massive for the group because it takes 2 points off them and gives us 1 point. So, yeah, I'm chuffed to bits and happy to get the last-minute goal.
And final one from me before I let you get ready. I know you've got a break coming up. FUTWIZ go through. FUTWIZ and who? Who do you think that other team's going to be?
FUTWIZ and Mkers, in my opinion. I think they're a very good team. I do see them coming through with us, hopefully.
Well, great stuff, guys. Great performance as always. Mike, I believe you've got some analysis presented by PlayStation.
I do indeed, and it's not going to necessarily come from that game, but congrats on the result there. FUTWIZ seemed like they're uplifted and making that comeback. We're going to focus on RB Leipzig and the Guild matchup. It was a featured game and a goal that was relentless. You saw some of this pizzazz, shall we say, with the step overs, the attacking footwork, setting a tempo, having a lot of that momentum, being able to carry that after sitting out the first matchup. And we have that, of course, analysis presented by PlayStation. And I really like this goal because it's making something out of nothing in many regards. You're looking for the build-up. You get the ball on the edge of the box, and I keep talking about this, but you must learn the step over. It allows you to be very reactive. You have a certain level of discipline. It's universal. Anyone can do it. And in this case, you split the defense. Step over protects and forces a hesitation across the body. It is just pure beauty, and Jarzinho is the man for the job.
He certainly is. Great breakdown of the best bits there from Mike LaBelle. Just heard from FUTWIZ there as well. It was a great game. I don't know if you're casting your eye on it. 2-0, then to 2-2. We can see some of the best moments from it. But how big of a point, in your opinion, Mike, is that for FUTWIZ?
Massive, and this is where we talk about margins. Last time we saw FUTWIZ in action, they looked fantastic, but they didn't close out games. Those comebacks were going against them. As you see the first couple goals here for Mkers, reads the goalkeeper movement, able to capitalize, but they were not done. They were not dusted. FUTWIZ with the comeback. You love the roulette, a little extra emphasis on some of the skill moves. That means you're feeling the shimmy and you're feeling the shake. 90th minute, what's going to happen? A bit of a rebound, but all day, every day, they still count the same. And we always talk about margins.
I think the shout was bigger from Denman, the coach, than it was from...
That's what you hire him for. Let Denman be himself.
It's the hype man.
The guy is fueled up.
You can see the results there. Guild Esports 0. RB Leipzig Gaming 2, and Team FUTWIZ and Mkers, we saw it there, 2-2 points split.
Good games to watch.
Certainly. Ooh. And it's only going to get better from here.
Oh my goodness.
That is the group standings as it currently stands. RB Leipzig top, 11 points. Team FUTWIZ second on 10. Guild and Mkers both on 8, and Blue United all but eliminated. Well, pretty much eliminated actually. The maximum amount of points they can get is 9. So unfortunately Blue are just playing for pride, but can still make a big impact on this group, Mike.
And we saw this happen last week. SPQR, if anything, for the likes of a couple teams, they went home because they couldn't get the result against them.
Absolutely.
It wasn't even their head-to-head.
Yeah. Well, we can see what's coming up next because it's cracker after cracker. Mkers versus RB Leipzig. On the other side of the stage, Blue United against Guild Esports. We talked about Blue taking points off teams. Every team, if you want to keep in that hunt for top 2, has to beat Blue.
Sign me up. Put it on the dotted line. I can't wait for this. And these are also the top 2 teams that I took coming into today. We didn't really get to put our predictions out there, but I thought Mkers, or still think Mkers and the likes of RB Leipzig will go through. So this matchup is huge.
Well, I can sign you up, Mike, because we're going to be in the casting booth together. We're going to be up there for this next match. Make sure you do not miss it. Team Mkers up against RB Leipzig Gaming. It's coming up after this break. Well, that was a quick run up to the casting booth.
Light little sprint.
You just saw us down
Fun
on the
jog.
floor, and now we are here in the casting booth. Mike, what a game we have got in store as well. The last time we were in here, in this group, we saw the 4-0 to 4-4 comeback. Are we going to see similar scenes with Mkers and RB Leipzig in action?
You know what, Rich? I'm good with that. Again, if there's some way that I can line that up, I can manifest, I can put together a narrative for the 4-all, why not?
Well, this is what happened last time these did match up. It was 4 weeks ago, and it was RB Leipzig up against OpTolle and Oliboli. They went 1-0 up, did RB Leipzig. Early doors inside the first 5 minutes. They doubled their lead inside the second half.
Those step overs, nastiness.
Yeah. Sort of. I'm gonna say what are these called again?
Bumping knuckles?
Yes, one of those.
I don't know if I did that well either.
Oh, whatever it is.
Put me on the spot.
Look, Mike, the countdown has started, and that's all that matters, because we've got a game in store for you.
We're pounding it.
We're pounding feet. That's what RB Leipzig were doing. I can't wait. It's going to be a great game, and we're back underway in the casting booth. Mkers potentially reeling after blowing a 2-goal lead.
And they didn't look
FUTWIZ.
good against Guild either. They need a result here. This has to happen. This is not quite to the degree that you would say it's Mkers' make or break moment in today's tournament, but it could be a decider. It really could be a decider. If you can take points off of RB Leipzig, who looked good in their previous matchup, and you saw a lot of those traditional step overs, and if you know Anders, then you should expect those. They're always going to be in the 1-2. It's in that mandatory little bit of wiggle, little bit of work.
Absolutely, and speaking of Anders, there he is inside the box. He's your light blue cursor. The dark blue is Umut, who wins the ball back, couple of step overs again inside the box, and Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig, coming out flying in this opening 5 minutes. Up the other end, you have got the red cursor of OpTolle and the yellow of Oliboli. That's going to be Team Mkers.
And to give you a little bit of backstory here, both these teams are made up with a very similar functionality between their partnerships. So you've got the discipline.
Ooh, hello! Talk about Mkers. Are they going to be reeling? Absolutely not.
With the step over, little body feint, changes direction, unleashes, doesn't second guess, put your foot through it. And what I was saying is both these partnerships have a similar makeup in terms of characteristics. You have your structured player, when you're looking at the likes of Oliboli on the Swedes, or Umut, current world champion, when you're looking at RB Leipzig, and then you have your creative maestro, the unpredictable, the enigma, I like his lot. You have that number 10-esque type of player, and that's what OpTolle brings, and that's also what Vejrgang brings to the table, where you just don't know exactly what you're going to get, but he can make the game for you.
Absolutely, as you can see, Oliboli driving forward yet again here, getting to the byline, cutting it back, a little bit of a mix-up inside the box, but Van der Sar claims both hands onto it. And what we bring in this commentary booth is goals, because there has been another goal in the other match. It's gone the way of Guild Esports. Zidane with the green timed finish, putting Guild in a 1-0 position against Blue.
And that brings back those 2019 time finishing on everything. No chances taken.
And look at those standings. 11, 11, 11, 10. 1 point separating 4 teams as it currently stands. This is the group of death. Right here, right now, and we've seen it unfold beneath our very eyes. RB Leipzig coming up the other end, trying to find their way back into the game. Couple of step overs, just can't quite sneak it over the goalkeeper.
And on a different day and a different play, maybe a different way, you're going to convert there. Almost too much space. You turn and you're free with Mbappe. You add an extra helper with the step over.
Oh, mistake at the back. RB Leipzig can't put this ball in the back of the net.
What the Van der Sar? My man is active, feeling confident as ever. And this is where we talk about goalkeeper movement, when to bring them out, when to sit them back, how to shift or guess to the left or guess to the right, and the difference it can make. These are 2 massive errors, and Mkers is still leading 1-0.
Yeah, they can't quite believe it as they come up the other end here, looking to really capitalize on those missed errors from RB Leipzig. It's a one-legged game of FIFA, so it will quickly go away from you if you do find yourself 2-0 down, and that's what they're looking to do, compound the misery of RB Leipzig.
You see that clever footwork again from OpTolle.
utilizing a new skill that I actually feel is the best skill, or the best new skill in this FIFA installment, where you're looking at that new heel-to-heel.
Chance, Ronaldo Nazario. It looked like it was red-timed, but the goalkeeper, he was a little bit shaky. Just tips it wide of the post. Corner coming in. Vieira, the man going short. Not quite the ideal player, but he is right there with Pele! As a Come Nou reigns around the Here East Arena.
And it has to be said, it always was coming. And you're seeing that mastery of the step overs again, because you have to kind of guess. You're playing a game of rock, paper, scissors versus step over. Does he go step over left, right, pull it back, keep it forward, don't change direction? Is he shielding? Is he forcing you to hesitate? That is the value of that skill move.
And RB Leipzig find themselves back on top, with a game in hand as well, it has to be said, on Guild and Mkers. 12 points. Is it a good FUTWIZ result, this? Are FUTWIZ the real winners here?
I'm just looking at Mkers and starting to say, you're running out of points.
Running out of time.
Not only is a draw, even though you're getting one on the board, I don't know it's enough. I think they have to win this game if they want to be in the driving seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Not relying on tiebreakers and permutations and opportunities for other teams coming up.
Don't get started with that permutation talk. It's too early, Rich.
It's never too early. Alawairan looking to get down the line. Van der Sar just about keeps hold of that.
And if you're looking for a burner, a speed demon, the cheetah down the streets or down the sideline or the end line, that will be your man. I pulled the community. Yep. Everyone's saying fastest player in the game.
And a lot of people did say
Adama Traore as well. Those were the two.
Chance here for
guys that
Jairzinho.
came up.
Ronaldo, couple of step overs, green time. Van der Sar called into action yet again here. RB Leipzig knocking on that door. Right now it's remaining closed, padlocked shut. However, they're looking to break and enter. Cafu. This is nice patient play here from Anders Vejrgang and Umut. Mbappe, step overs, straight into Capdevere.
And that's the situation. I know we keep stressing the step overs, but when you have such high level, perhaps the best player at doing them, period, right now when you're looking at Anders, you've kind of got to discuss it. It just puts you in a position where you always are playing this game of cat and mouse, and it's just so dangerous.
Absolutely, and typically the cat will always win. But the question is, who is the cat in this scenario? Ruud Gullit looking to fire into Mbappe.
I don't know. I watched a lot of Tom and Jerry. I don't feel like the cat was always coming out on top.
We have got a goal in the other matchup, and just on half-time, 5 minutes from it, Zidane yet again bursting forward for Guild. He's the man of the moment as Nicholas and dsaanchez look to pick up 3 crucial points, Mike.
Yeah, highly rated, highly regarded. It sounds funny saying Zidane's kind of on the come-up, but in FIFA 23 in particular, at the competitive level, Zidane has replaced players. You don't always see Vieira, not in the midfield anymore. You move him down to that center back.
Yaya's gone.
Yaya's gone as well. Zidane's really overtaken some of the stars this year.
Does he get in your starting 11?
Absolutely.
Zizou?
All day, every day.
Well, he gets in my team as well as another man.
As he should.
Brandon Smith gets in my team all day, every day, and he is joined by the coach of Guild.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, joined by Juan from Guild. Talk me through the game so far against Blue United. So far, so good.
Yeah, 2-0 up at halftime. We are getting a better result than we should, but I think this gives us confidence for the second half, and let's see if we can close this game.
And how are the boys feeling? Because they won their first game, then suffered defeat in their second game. Wasn't the best performance, but against a really good side in RB Leipzig. Now, what is it, a case of 2 big wins? But how are the guys?
Yeah, they feel confident. Our game against Leipzig wasn't the way we expected, but I think if we win this one and we can beat FUTWIZ in the last one, that could be a key match. We could go through.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Juan, and good luck to the guys at Guild. For now, back to Richard and Mike.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Great to hear there from the coach, Juan, of Guild Esports. Confident, as always, that Nicholas and dsaanchez will go through. We're back underway here. And it's RB Leipzig from left to right in the white strip. And from right to left, you've got Mkers. Look at Oliboli here, just starting to create a little bit of space. The cross never really on the money.
The keeper was adjusted. They read that like a book. You saw Van der Sar step into space and really cut down the angle for the cross. And I was just having a little bit of some self-reflection as you do. The FIFA analysis came out of me and decided or thought about what is Mkers going to do here in terms of they need to probably go for the win, but you don't want to go overly aggressive. Do you wait till maybe the 65th or the 70th minute? Because I don't think a 1-all does enough for them.
No, it doesn't. A draw,
personal permutations.
A draw doesn't help them enough. And a loss, I mean, is catastrophic in trying to qualify as one of those top 2 places. That ball just about finding its way back to Maldini. A little bit ropey around the back as his clearance is intercepted. Mbappe quite get his toe on that. And in those scenarios, you always back Vejrgang to hit the back of the net if Mbappe would have got a smooth contact.
You see Mkers trying to slow it down a little bit. I think that's a smart move. Even though you want those goals, FIFA's one of those titles that does not allow you to play rushed. Offensively, defensively, just doesn't work, so you have to have some control. And the faster the game, it's got to be said, RB Leipzig becomes the favorite.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys just move so quickly, and they want to play a very reactive FIFA.
Yeah, I mean, the you attack, I attack style of play suits them the best. As Mkers come forward here with OpTolle. Can't quite struggle away with Kylian Mbappe. Eusebio was waiting patiently inside the box as well. Zidane, he's proved really, really pivotal for Guild. Will he do something similar here for RB Leipzig? Ruud Gullit into Jarzinho. Reverse elastico around the corner. Green time shot into a set of bodies. As a pause is cued and waiting for Team Mkers, but everything seems to be falling to a white shirt at the moment, and that'll be the reason they want to get into that pause to try and shake something up and try and change something.
And you can see the value that Mbappe is now adding to the game. I'm not saying that he wasn't a top tier or an elite player previously, but after the newest of patches, where explosiveness and some of those acceleration characteristics and traits have definitely made a difference, where it allows Mbappe to really attack that space and take advantage of the pace on pace on pace.
Absolutely. There has been another goal in our secondary matchup. It has gone the way of Blue United, potentially starting to shake the pot here, Mike.
I'm okay with that. You know I always support a good chef, especially if you're feeding us appetizers, main courses.
Round 5 drama?
Why not?
Little cheese board as well.
I told you at the beginning of the show they're going to take points off someone.
And they've yet to do it yet. However, this could be the round. Chance here straight from the kickoff, straight from the get-go. Caught napping Mkers.
That pause did not work well for them, and you see the reaction. Anders pops off, stands up, shares an exchange of words. I don't think there was a lot of deep level of vernacular. The coach gets a little bit of a smile back there. You don't want him standing up above you, about 6'7". Definitely got to have a certain presence. If he stands over you, you're going to feel it.
One pass. They took the throw in, and it was one driven pass straight through the heart of the defense. Mkers look distraught.
Well, what happened was the center backs, they weren't switched on. So you had that one throw in, they're separated a little farther than usual, and it was a very easy splitting pass. It kind of almost was one of those scenarios where you had too much time to decide in the 1v1, and you don't see them making the shifts. You almost see them thinking about things, and they just don't seem nearly as aligned.
And look at that table. It puts RB Leipzig out 99%, because it had come down then to head, out of reach of Mkers. Mkers won't be able to catch RB Leipzig. If this would be final, they actually sit out of the next game round as well. So they'll be coming into round 5, potentially, with it out of their hands.
Yeah, if they're not able to get a result here, they have to get some sort of points. We were kind of teasing it earlier.
1 point's not enough, though.
Yeah, we really feel like they need a win, but in theory here, let's say they get a draw.
Yep.
They forge a comeback.
Okay.
And then they get a win. They're looking at 12 points total. I'm doing the math on the fly.
I'm manifesting it. Okay. Yep.
I'm not saying 12 is enough, but it might be depending on what happens. Who gets the shaken with the bacon, we don't know. But weirder things have happened in FIFA. It's a title that's always unexpected.
And we've also got 23 minutes left to play.
Plenty of time.
As Mkers come forward through the hands of OpTolle, Eusebio now. Vinicius Jr. linking up, can't quite get it away, but the press is there. Black shirts flying up the pitch. Can Leipzig get out of it unfazed? Not on this occasion. I think we're starting to see the way that this story is going to end. It's going to be one-way traffic with Mkers trying to redeem themselves in this matchup. Johan Cruyff forces it wide. Vinicius Jr., beautiful bit of skill from OpTolle. He offloads to Oliboli, twisting, turning. He's like a ballerina. What a finish!
That was a magical moment from OpTolle. I didn't know what was happening. You had the fake shot. You had the resurface. You had the quick footwork with the L stick dribbling, rerun it. It was havoc in the box. You couldn't predict it. And that's that unnatural nature that we talk about. He's offering you something different. You can't walk through his jungle. This man's a rainforest.
There is no jungle walking here. You get lost.
I didn't know where he was going to go.
And that is what the table is sitting
That's
at
massive.
right
Plenty of time.
now.
15 minutes
Absolutely.
left. Keep the press on.
Vinicius Jr., instant impact as well. The
and
pace.
Cruyff as well. We
the
saw
dribbling,
Cruyff with some of the turning.
Mkers.
Uh-oh.
Giving the ball away at the back, though. Leipzig come forward. Maldini with a big win at the back. Eusebio, Oliboli in hand. Can he get the run of his teammate in OpTolle away with Vinicius Jr.? A little bit shaky around the back, but Leipzig do enough to calm it down. There has to be a winning goal in this game. A draw doesn't help anyone. Both teams. 3 points essential.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed, because there's a big hole at the back as RB Leipzig come forward. Ronaldo. Oh, the driven pass. Great defending. What is happening at the back? Alphonso Davies just about does enough.
If you've played a lot of FIFA 23, that constant press,
it's dangerous.
It's terrifying. It's frightening. It was made for October. You can't beat it sometimes. At least it feels that way.
Johan Cruyff into Eusebio. Mkers find the back post. Capdevila brings it down. Like there's no pressure on him in the world. Takes a touch and plays it out. Alawairan can't get away from Kyle Walker, one of the only fullbacks to potentially match his pace. As Vinicius Jr. plays into a couple of white shirts, there's still so much green grass free in this game. Ruud Gullit bounding away, slides in Alawairan, finesse around the keeper. Umut is off his feet, and Anders is off his feet. Wow.
And you feel for Mkers. They were knocking, but that is the risk. You commit the bodies. The counterattack is open. Big time first touch from Ruud Gullit, He's galloping forward, takes the space, extra pass. You have a quick hesitation to see if the pass is on.
Great finish.
Can you bait the defender? Slightly does do that. He overcommits, stops that extra additional pass, open up the body, finesse shot, back corner, and now we're causing problems.
It's a great, great finish. Mkers had to go for it.
I'm not mad at it.
Saw 3 points there.
I support what they did. They definitely went for it. And it's kind of one of those high-risk, high-reward plays as well, because when you're looking at the likes of OpTolle in particular, you're seeing Oliboli try to get him the ball in dangerous locations, but he's going to take chances.
Yeah,
he's going to go for it, but those moments also create those giveaways and those counterattacks and the space opening up for your opposition.
I just saw, I think it was Genius in the Twitch chat. This kid is something like we've never seen before. Talking about Anders Vejrgang. What a player. The chance, by the way, that's not 100%.
It's also great defending. You see Maldini cuts the angles.
Yeah.
He's cutting two angles at once. He's stopping the pass across. He's made that more difficult. And to be able to adjust again to what you're seeing with the defenders, and then being able to adapt and pivot and have that finish and pull that out of your locker in a big moment.
And this could be the nail in the Mkers' coffin here. Maldini wins it back, potentially to send them off on one final hurrah as they come forward with Eusebio. It's OpTolle in hand. Oliboli can't get away from Vieira. Great press from Johan Cruyff, winning the ball back. It's deep in RB Leipzig territory, but they get away with it. They get out. And Mbappe rides the challenge of Virgil van Dijk, dinked over the top. Ronaldo Nazario, is he going to go to the corner? Couple of scoop turns. I think that will be it, Mike.
Done. Dusted. Wrap it up. GG's to Mkers. And it's got to be said, they can no longer control their future. They're going to need a whole lot of help. And mathematically, statistically, they might have a slight sliver, but there's not a lot left in this.
It's a 1% club right now for Mkers if they want to try and get that top 2 spot. What a game. We always deliver when the matches are up here for us. I have to say, we get some of the best games out of all of the broadcasts.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not.
The players know what's happening. It's also in that mid portion of the day. We're always here round 3, round 4 when it gets into the nitty-gritty.
The must-win games, and must-win is something that Guild did as well. They picked up that victory. I believe it was 2-1 in the end. A good result for Guild, puts them 3 points closer to the top 2. How impressed are you with RB Leipzig showing that determination? You go 2-1, 2-2, then you find the winning goal when the pressure's on you.
I don't know if they're feeling the pressure. It's a mix of the two elements as well. From the defensive press, think how many big takeaways they had, and then you saw some of the final third play. It's creative, it's unorthodox, it still includes those masterful intangibles. You got to give a lot of credit to those guys as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, if we just part ways a little bit right now, we're going to throw it back over to that man right there, who's joined by Nicholas.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And yeah, we had someone here who's got a lot of excitement and passion and celebrations, to someone that likes to keep it a little bit more intact. The Iceman, Nicholas, 99, joins me now off the back of a 2-1 win against Blue United. Nicholas, today so far, 2 wins, 1 defeat, good and bad, but still confident you can go through?
Yeah, I think so. As I said at the beginning, we are ready for everything. Now against Blue United was really tough match. We had a mistake and we conceded 2-1. Maybe they put some pressure and that was a little bit tough to manage it. But yeah, we did it. And now, as you say, it was good and bad. We start really good against Mkers. Then we face should be the best team in the group. We lost, but now that's okay. Now we won, and yeah, that matters.
Exactly, that's all that matters. Fair play as well on the reset. You didn't have long jump straight back into that game against Blue United and got the result. Speak to me about the next game now, because this is your last game, potentially, in the EA Sports Cup. You play FUTWIZ. You drew last time you played them 4 weeks ago. You got a smile on your face. You looking forward to that one?
Yeah, sure. We are ready. You know, both players of them, they are pretty good. I think both qualify for the Champions League, so that shows like the level they got it. But yeah, let's see. Let's try our best, and if we can get the win, so it should be really nice.
It should be a very good game indeed. Thank you so much for your time, Nicholas. Good luck in your last game. For now, let's head back to Richard, who's with Ivan.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Great words, as always, from the Iceman. Big 3 points for Nicholas and dsaanchez for Guild right there.
Again, we keep saying it. You have to beat Blue United. And then the rest, don't lose your 6-pointers.
How hard is it? You've been in this position before where there's a team where you think, we've got to beat them, we've got to beat them. How hard is it actually to beat them? Because you put a lot of pressure on yourself knowing that this is the game that we must win.
You're playing against yourself more than you're playing against the opponent. But I think it helps if you put yourself in your opponent's shoes, where you're thinking that they also have some sort of pressure to get some points, to win some games. So as long as you play your game, you should be fine. It's about not getting in your own head.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on this. I was casting this game with Mike LaBelle. What did you think to this game, Ivan? Because it was incredible.
I mean, Leipzig and Mkers, you expect like top of the table clash. Mkers, they really good team. They played very, very well, patiently around the box. Some of the step overs that you used to seeing from Leipzig, from Anders, they go 1-0 up, and then it was all RB Leipzig in terms of pressure. Again, step overs, classic, 1-1. And it was a tight game all around. 65th minute, you can see Anders during the whole game, he was fired up. They go 2-1 up, and we don't see it, but he was screaming, he was shouting. Yeah. And 2-1, turn on the constant pressure, sorry. Amazing dribbling from Mkers. They kind of get in each other's way there, but 2-2, and they think they have it. They think they secure the point, the all-important point against clear favorites in RB Leipzig, but they get caught on the counter. End of the game, a mistake you should not be doing. And my favorite player, Alawairan, right-footed.
Do you think Mkers were right to keep going for the win, or do you think a draw would have done them okay?
I think, I mean, hindsight, right? You want to go for the 3 points, but in hindsight, I think you should be happy with the draw, because realistically, Red Bull Leipzig, they're beating everyone. So yeah. 1 point against them is 1 more point than the other teams. So I think you should have been happy with a draw, but hindsight, if you beat them, you're through.
Yeah, I mean, Guild as well, it compounds the misery knowing that one of the teams near you just picked up 3 points as well. How impressed have you been with Guild today? A drastic improvement on 4 weeks ago. I asked you about an hour ago what you thought of Guild. Are you continuing on the Guild train? Do you think they might go through?
My prediction is still Red Bull RB Leipzig, and Team FUTWIZ. But I think Guild are a very good shout for the second place to fight with Team FUTWIZ. And in my opinion, you can clearly see a better sort of defensive performance from Guild. I know they did lose against RB Leipzig, but you expect that.
Well, the table agrees with what you're saying. We don't call him doctor for anything. He's a clever man. RB Leipzig top on 14 points. Guild Esports 11 points. FUTWIZ have got a game in hand on 10. Mkers on 8 and Blue United on 0. As it stands, obviously we've got games left to play. Some teams have got 2, some teams have got 1. RB Leipzig are going to be matching up against Fnatic, and I know there's somebody in here, Diogo Mendes, for Fnatic. I'll be intrigued to find his thoughts of that matchup, but do you think RB Leipzig win this group with 2 games left to go?
I think so. They have a game in hand and they're 3 points ahead of second place. That only has 1 game in hand. Obviously, Team FUTWIZ can make a push and be on 13, but I think they're clear favorites, and if I'm not mistaken, they're still yet to play Blue United, so you would back them to finish first.
Yeah, absolutely. Ivan, I'll not keep you for much longer because you're on commentary duty next with our very own Mike LaBelle, but the next game that you're going to be casting over, it's going to be a great one. It's going to potentially be a decider. Team FUTWIZ against Guild Esports. On the other side, we have Blue United up against RB Leipzig Gaming. 3 points necessary for RB Leipzig, potentially can guarantee their route through to the knockouts. The featured match, it's going to be a cracker though. I mean, FUTWIZ, must-win game.
Second against
What do you think? What do you think?
I think pressure is on Guild because they have 1 game left to play, whereas Team FUTWIZ have 2 games left to play. So Guild, if they lose this, I don't think it's looking good for them. I don't even know if they can make it. So pressure's on Guild.
Pressure is on Guild. The Iceman in action after this break. It's going to be Team FUTWIZ up against Guild Esports. Do not go anywhere. This could be a decider.
The EA Sports Cup is presented by PlayStation Tournaments.
Hello, hello, hello. Well, I'm back to back here. I'm joined by the doctor. We've got a big match that is going to be a decider here when you're looking at teams going forward or teams going home a little bit early. We're now into round 4. What have you made so far of the day?
I mean, it's going according to plan, according to my plan. I think.
Oh, please tell us your plan.
I think RB Leipzig, clear favorite, and right now we're going to see if my prediction is going to come true. Guild against Team FUTWIZ.
Where did this prediction go out? Because I didn't hear it, I didn't see it. I didn't see it posted anywhere. I didn't read it.
You were not watching. You were not listening.
We're not in the group chat with it. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. Let's call a spade a spade. We've got the likes of Team FUTWIZ, EthxnH going up against Guild Esports, who've looked impressive today with Nicholas and dsaanchez.
Really good. And I think, as I said just now, pressure is on Guild, in my opinion. They have 1 game in hand, whereas EthxnH have 2. So this is a 6-pointer for Guild.
And this is what happened last time we saw these 2 teams in action. Just a few weeks back, a light flashback for the people. As you see, Rude Hullet working Team FUTWIZ. And the story of Team FUTWIZ was getting off to good starts, but not being able to hold that lead. And today, I feel like they started to make up some of those margins. We've already seen 1 comeback on display. It was late. It was arguable if it was great, but it was a 2-all draw, which might have felt like a loss if you're a FUTWIZ fan.
I think so, yeah. But I think you forget what happened last time around. And I think this time, Team FUTWIZ could actually be happy with a draw. because, as I said, they have 2 games in hand, whereas Guild only have 1. And they're looking good if they draw this game, even more so if they win. But one thing they don't want to do is lose this game. So I'm looking forward to it. We see the countdown, the game's about to kick off, and a massive, massive 6-pointer here for both teams.
If you're a FUTWIZ fan, as long as you get a positive result, a draw or a win will work. You're moving in the right direction. You put yourself in a position to be able to control the final outcome, which is, I think, all you could ask for when you have so many of the top teams in one group.
Yeah, and as we saw from the standings a few minutes ago, RB Leipzig, they're top of the group with 3 points ahead of second. They have 2 games yet to play. One of them, if I'm not mistaken, is against Blue United. So I'm honestly thinking RB Leipzig, they go ahead 17 points potentially, and Team FUTWIZ and Guild fighting for second.
Absolutely. And as you're tuning in here, we have FUTWIZ, of course, in the white kits, and then we have Guild in the darker kits. And we did see one early mistake made from Nicholas and dsaanchez, but I don't think FUTWIZ was necessarily ready for it. They didn't capitalize, and it could have been an early opening goal, and that's so important in matchups where there's additional pressure.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Team FUTWIZ, compared to Guild, maybe don't have as much experience. But Nicholas, the Iceman, we know what we're talking about. Whereas Team FUTWIZ, as good as they are, for example, NiKSNEB, this is his first major EA event.
Oh, great pass, Mbappe turn, second opportunity, huge save from Van der Sar, big mistake, and Van der Sar's there again. It was green, time finished, but it didn't have that extra emphasis, and I heard there's an update in the other match. That means somebody must be scoring and somebody must be conceding. Take us to it. Blue United, RB Leipzig, probably against the run of play from what we've seen today with form. Could it be that Blue gets points off RB Leipzig, and does that really matter for the group?
I think it does definitely matter because they could be potentially fighting for second. But let's see what Team FUTWIZ have in store for us.
Big takeaway. Great lob there. R9 takes it down. Who else? Van der Sar cannot be stopped. Those legs are special. The hands, magnificent. Big body, corner kick. Expect this to go direct. Whips it in. Ruud hold it. Back post. Green. Time. Finish. You can't stop that goodness. Long hair. Don't care. And he converts. It's gorgeous. And I was just going to ask you, we've seen so many direct corner kicks, so many direct free kicks this year. Of course, everything around set pieces has been reworked. How do you feel about it?
I like the free kicks. I am not the biggest fan of corners just because at times they can feel undefendable. But if you master them as an attacking technique, they are basically free goals.
And I just got hit with production. We've got updates in the other game. Another goal is being scored. Is it a quick rebuttal? It is indeed. You see those nasty step overs. Van der Sar, big save. Ruud Gullit, winning headers. What else is new? R9, again with the step overs across the body. It's just so hard to defend. And I brought it up in the previous cast because I was here with Rich. What is it about step overs? It just puts you in these positions where you don't know what to do, the shimmy, the shake. How are you stopping them?
If you were to analyze the step over as a skill move, kind of in slow motion or in an instant replay, you can see that the animation itself gives the ball some sort of an unnatural boost, so to speak. So I think that's what makes it very, very hard to defend. And when you pair it up with the fact that you have Anders and Umut doing it, it's even harder. It plays on your mental game, on your mental side of things. And you're kind of panic defending. You see Anders on the ball, you know a step over is coming. What do you do about it? What side? Left, right, forward, backwards? You don't know what to do.
They're just putting so much pressure. A lot of space here. Mbappe from Ruud Gullit looking for the return. You see some of those step overs, ball rolling, good defending from Virgil van Dijk. Could it be another corner kick? Indeed it is. This is kind of scary. You got Capdevila, and it's all about isolating those tall players and allowing them to try to win some of those 50-50s. Back post, Ruud Gullit for a double. And I talked to them before the day. They were saying that they feel good with the corners. You see it on display, 2 for 2, 2-0, and maybe the biggest and here, I've been told, I didn't do the permutation, so don't come after me, but the winner of this game is going to claim that second place. They control their destiny, and this is that decider. Also, we have goals in the other game, or a goal in the other game, so we have to check in on that. I'm telling you, when I'm here, doctor, we get goals. Mbappe, ball roll, finish. As you see it, 2-1. A little more of the old school classic FIFA goal.
As I said, according to plan. RB Leipzig first place, Team FUTWIZ. Second place, they have 1 game in hand to Guild Esports, who are playing their last game. So if they don't win, they're out.
That's why we stress this game really being the decider, because this is the last game of the day for Guild. So if FUTWIZ is able to win this here, they close it out.
I think even if they draw it, they would be on 11 points and Guild would be on 12. So Guild would be 1 point ahead, but Team FUTWIZ would still have 1 game in hand.
You don't necessarily want to go into that. That puts a lot of pressure on your final game, but you get a second helping, a second chance. You can't lose the game. And we might see early shifts or early changes here from not only FUTWIZ from maybe a defensive end, because they're sitting here doing some of those calculations, they're doing the math, but also even for NiKSNEB and dsaanchez going for it, maybe starting to commit a little bit earlier. This is their tournament. And what else? We have more goals on the other side. It has been a goal fest. Mbappe, step overs. Ronaldo, maybe some more step overs. Nope, he's going to go for the forward additional burst of space, burst of touch. R9, 6-yard box, green time finish. And I don't think the blue United upset, maybe taking some points off the champs or off the current #1 is going to happen.
I mean, having watched RB Leipzig all game, one more corner for Team FUTWIZ before I continue with my thought, because
you see what they're planning. You see what they're planning. They're setting it up.
Hat-trick.
They go
Still
short.
back post.
They heard you. They saw it. The isolation was there. Vieira with the step over. One more pass. Doesn't quite connect. I think that's Johan Cruyff stepping through the midfield. You don't necessarily see him used in the starting 11. I've noticed a lot of players in terms of their player selections. Zidane has now been a constant. We're seeing a Virgil van Dijk back in action. And then we're seeing Eusebio. We're seeing Cruyff one or the other. And I'm hearing, again, more updates, more goals. Let's see if it's going to be another one of these counterattacks. It is. Pele, ball roll, extra pass, Mbappe, step over. It's a rinse, wash, repeat. You just can't stop the pressure.
40th minute, 4-1 down. And I think as I was saying, having watched RB Leipzig play all day, going 1-0 up against them, Anders is not taking that well. He's fired up. When the game's drawn, he's angry. Let alone when Blue United scores first against you, you're not happy. And I'm thinking Anders took it personally, and he's out. He's out for blood.
Oh, that should have been converted. A little bit of good fortune maybe at the edge of the box, but when you get that right on the D with R9, you got an open pass, it has to convert. Mbappe into space, off the counter. At this point, you almost say just go for the corner kicks. Try to draw some more corner kicks, because clearly Nicholas and dsaanchez are a little bit stressed out trying to defend him. You're sitting here 2 for 3, 66% on the conversion rate. And as they're building up here, let's see if we can do this quickly. There's been another goal in the other game. Who else? Jarzinho. Here we go, looking for space. Helpers. Ruud Gullit. Extra pass. Zidane.
Wow.
Step over. 5-star weak foot. Does not matter. Across the body. And you don't see that often.
Not from the edge of the box. I don't expect a green time finish long shot there. I do expect it to go in, but I'm not expecting that shot to be taken.
Uh-oh. R9's working again. Looking for space. Cruyff. Love it. Is it there? Hey, oh! That is something spectacular. And it's got to be said, I've been in this position before. You were watching. We saw them go up 4-0 last time they were in action against Leipzig, and they kind of threw that game away. They weren't able to see it out. I'm sure this halftime talk will be different. 3-0. What a way to close out the half. And what a finish. You saw that body feint. You have a little bit of a different re-angle. Goalkeeper off his line. Whew. It was something that memorable. But I'm hearing that Brandon is with Dan, owner of FUTWIZ. Let's see what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be all sorts of positivity.
Thank you very much, Mike. And yeah, I'm with a man that is probably keeping it hard right now in terms of not smiling. He's 3-0 up his team at the moment down. What a start. So close to qualification right now.
Very, very close. 45 minutes away. Just got to keep it tight. Obviously, in match week 1, we had a bit of an issue against constant press, so it's just making sure we can defend against that and see it out.
And how much would it mean to the boys? I know there's a lot of hard work that goes behind the scene. You've got your own HQ now in Milton Keynes. How much would it mean today to get that top 8?
I'll be massive. I mean, the boys came very close to making an event last year. Worked really hard, but didn't get their due. So hopefully, this is the year that they really show that they're one of the best in the world, if not the best.
Thank you very much for your time. 45 minutes away, Team FUTWIZ are for qualifying for the knockout stages here in London.
Thank you so much, Brandon. And he was definitely holding in a big smile. That grin might be the most you're getting out of Dan, but he is ready to take the boys out if they get this job done. FUTWIZ, I don't know if you feel like this, but it's been one of those teams that's been a maybe team, an almost team. They've been able to get themselves into positions, but they always have something happen where they don't maybe advance as far as they should. The talent is there, but it's a bad bounce, a missed opportunity. Something goes wrong for them.
I mean, you look at last year, Team of Season Cup qualifiers. They came so close. They played the game to qualify. I think they lost both games coming from the winner bracket. They were close to qualifying for that. They played E-Premier League, which is not technically a 2v2 event, but you play together as a team. So they've been almost there.
Space to work with. Goes for the shot. Was hoping that the goalkeeper's going to shoot there, or just slightly shift there, excuse me, with Van der Sar. Doesn't catch him sleeping. And now we have a corner kick for Guild.
I think one thing you have to take into consideration as well, you mentioned Dan not being way too happy, is because he is wary of the constant press. We know what happened last week.
He's also seen it all. He's got a lot of experience. And speaking of a couple players that have the experience, and they've seen a lot so far, and I think they're scoring more goals. Here we go. Jarzinho again, down the wing. If it doesn't have a step over, I'm disappointed. Going for a classic. Oh, stop the shimmy, stop the shake and bake. You don't even see them popping off anymore. It is getting ugly in the other match.
They are playing for the goal difference because, although now that I think about it, it won't really matter. They are 4 points ahead with 1 round to go. They are locked in for first. Team FUTWIZ would be locked in for second if the results stay as they are.
And I thought they looked beatable last time we saw them in action, and they were able to get some big results and some comebacks. They faced some adversity, but today, those two have been unstoppable. A lot of space, takes it down, goes for the first time finish. Might want to have that back with Eusebio there. It should really be converting. You had enough time to work it out. You see Ruud Gullit, he's posted up. Cruyff, step overs. Pele, looking for the entry pass, doesn't find the entry pass. There's a leak out here, a lot of space. You got the burner into that action. Oh, I thought it was going to be somebody different. We have Yaya Toure, though. He's probably going to have to pull it back.
Yeah, and you see from the corners, Team FUTWIZ, they scored 2 corners that were identical, and then they haven't tried it since. They haven't tried a third time around. They've tried 2 different set pieces. Keep Guild on their toes, especially since you're not looking necessarily for the goal. You're 3 goals up. You're looking to play it short, keep the ball, do something dangerous, wait for your center backs to go back in position.
Well, the main reason they're doing that is to try to avoid being counterattacked off the corner kicks, right?
Most definitely. One of the main issues.
Oh!
3-1.
And we have a goal. It came out of nothing. It was fumbling around, a misclearance, a misstep, but now you have hope. And then also, if you're FUTWIZ, and I'm not here to manifest any negativity, they've seen this happen before, and we know the constant press is lethal.
Some players call it the magical button. Oh. I know former world champion Moaba, that's his trademark saying, and I think that's what we're going to be expecting from Guild Esports.
I hope we get a second camera on Dan, the owner. I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but we saw smiles at halftime. I'd like to see some of those reactions. You see a little bit of concern on Ethan's face, NiKSNEB's face, Denman, the coach. Everybody feels as if they've been in this position before, and they haven't necessarily seen it out. I mean, we could be talking about FUTWIZ coming in to this week already having clenched, because they were incredible last time we saw them in action. They just didn't have that closeout gene.
And let's not forget, they have thrown leads. Again, I don't want to repeat it, but it has.
But we're repeating it.
The fact is, in my opinion, that if Guild score the next goal, we're looking at a draw.
Oh. Pele. Mbappe, beautiful heel to heel. Maybe should have got off that, overthought it a little bit with the extra step over. And the problem is now, as you're committing body, there's so much space to work with. Pele, looking for options. Can he find something on the end line? Pulls it back. A little bit of dribbling, good whipped in cross. Virgil van Dijk always going to win that header.
And I think one of the main issues when you play against constant press is not only it's hard to play out from the back, but even when you're in your opponent's third, and when you lose the ball there, you always have 4 players of your opponent's team at the halfway line ready to counter, because they are there pressing the defenders. So whenever you lose that ball, they don't need to run up the pitch, they're already there.
Oh, here's a step over. R9 again, big save from Van der Sar. Did not take the bait. Sometimes you're using those step overs again just to see if the goalkeeper will slightly shift one direction or the other. We've seen the corner kicks, particularly in this series, mean so much. Again, looking to isolate your best jumpers, your most lethal aerial pursuit. Saw the back post, goes short. What a pick out. Pele again with Van der Sar stepping and cutting off some of the angles. Maybe should have had an extra pass.
I think they'll be kicking themselves. I think as you shoot that ball, you see the extra pass. You see the clear 100% or 99% chance. But very good keeper movement for Team FUTWIZ.
FUTWIZ can't keep the ball. Can't keep the ball at all. It's easier said than done. I'll be fair to them, but you can't lose the ball in these positions, and you've got to slow down the game as they kind of run it out. Another pause has been queued. 71st minute. At least time is on their side. But yeah, if we could rerun that play, maybe take one of those little analyzing moments. That extra pass had to be on for Vieira, and that was the tap-in, surely.
Again, hindsight 2020. When you're playing, when you're in the game, especially in a 2v2 format, in 1v1 maybe it's different. Maybe you're thinking, if I driven past this to my teammate, maybe he's not ready. Maybe he takes a touch, keeper saves it. Maybe it's better for me to shoot with R9 than to tap it into Vieira so close to the keeper. Again, it's always decision making, hindsight. If it works out, good thing I didn't pass it. If it doesn't work out, why didn't I pass it? So it's one of those where it's over, you forget about it, you move on, you have 2 goals to score, keeper hopes alive.
And even with NiKSNEB being so successful and having so many accolades and accomplishments, I would still say that he's in the peak of his career right now. Still hungry. He's still pushing for results. Last year, he was fantastic. We also saw NiKSNEB qualify for ECL. We saw the likes of Ethan and NiKSNEB qualify for the ECL event as well. And that just tells you the kind of form these guys are in 1v1 settings, which plays a factor here when you go back to teaming up in a 2v2, that they're able to mix and match and be able to integrate 2 different types of game plans. You've competed in both at the same time. Sometimes that can be very tricky being able to adjust.
It's indeed very difficult, especially last week I believe we had a calendar consisting of 2v2, 1v1, 2v2. So it's very difficult for some of these players.
Uh-oh, space to work with. Vinicius off the bench, taking that space against Virgil van Dijk. Extra pass, Mbappe goes for the cancellation, doesn't work out. Kyle Walker shifting, and Nkunku. Rude hole it. That's rare. You don't see that too often at the competitive side of the scene. Maybe a little bit early on, but you had the new shot come into play. What's your verdict on the power shot?
You know what you also don't see too often? The power shot camera zoom being left on.
You're not wrong. And this is a great position here for FUTWIZ. They can kill some clock. Of course, drawing another corner kick. They'll probably go short here, and if they're smart, I would say they're going to resurface, recycle, maybe one switch of the pitch, and make sure if they lose the ball, that they lose it down the wings. Don't lose it down in the middle of the pitch.
Agreed, fully agreed. That being said, I do think the power shot is very effective. It looked to be very effective at the start of the year, but as the pro meta developed, take him out.
Take him down? Yeah, take him down. That's what I was thinking. Take him down.
Do that professional foul.
Oh, no. A lot of space here to work with. Nkunku. Ball roll. Looking for options. Can he find options? Not quite. Yaya, big step. That might be enough. Does he go deep? He's got to go deep. That's smart.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it because the linesman is still running, so you know he's going to get the ball.
I've never looked at that. That is a great added tip. I love that. Rewind that. Keep it on repeat.
I think if Team FUTWIZ managed to keep the ball until the 86th minute, it should be over. Even if you concede a goal, you're conceding it, what, 88th minute? From there on, 3 minutes, it's doable, but you really have to throw it. I think Team FUTWIZ, we can safely say they're not losing this game. It's, I think, theoretically close to impossible.
Worst case is a tie.
Worst case is a tie, so I would say they have their fate in their own hands. And it's about wasting time, running down the clock, potentially going for more, but I don't think you need to. Offside, but I don't think it's going to matter that much.
I always say in FIFA that nothing's impossible. After seeing the Sean Allen, and I'm sure that he doesn't want me to bring that up, but in the finals of the FIFA World Cup, and giving away 2 goals like that late, and I just didn't think it was possible to not win that final in the position he was in. Perfect clearance there. So much space. It's staying into play. Wrap it up. Shake my hand. GG's. Congratulations to Team FUTWIZ. They're pushing through. On to the next round. In my opinion, this has been the best team that they've put together. Not only 2v2s, but also 1v1s. Both these guys have been performing constant for the last couple seasons, and I feel like they're working together so well.
As we've said, Dan said it as well. I think they've had the misfortune last week of not having more points. I think they had a very, very unlucky times last year in both 2v2 and 1v1 combined aspect. So it was time for them to get some rub of the green.
And I don't have the bracket in front of me, but I'm pretty confident that they're matching up against Fnatic as their opening matchup in the bracket stage. And what a matchup that is. Team FUTWIZ versus Fnatic. And we have the likes of Diogo and Tess. Or maybe it's the other way around, actually.
That would be a crazy matchup, but I believe Fnatic finished second in their group.
Okay, so Fnatic's going to play,
if I'm not mistaken. We're waiting on confirmation.
RB Leipzig.
Waiting on confirmation, but either way, whether it's Fnatic against Team FUTWIZ or Fnatic against RB
No, because Tuga would have
Leipzig.
came through with Andoni. I got this. Tuga,
Exactly.
Andoni, Riders, they'd be facing off against Team FUTWIZ, and that means there'll be a Fnatic versus RB Leipzig. You could not ask for a better matchup in January.
The two wonder kids we've been talking about in the FIFA scene in the past, what, 4 or 5 years? Ready to play face-to-face. We've seen Dosser against Tess this year, which is a big matchup, and now we're going to be seeing...
Well, you got multiple
Anders
world champions.
and Tess.
Wow. This is something special. I wonder where Diogo's going to fit in. He might feel some of the additional pressure. As accomplished as he is, out of those 4, he might be the least when you're dealing with the achievements, or at least the hype and the certain momentum at the moment.
I mean, Diogo's here. Diogo's here with us. He's at the venue.
Well, shout out to Diogo.
He was rooting for anyone but RB Leipzig to come first, because he told me, we talked a bit backstage, he told me, I want Leipzig to lose. I don't want them to be first. Just give me anyone. I don't want to play Umut. I don't want to play Anders. It's a world champion and a wonder kid. Who really wants to play them? And we've seen in this group, arguably the group of death. 4 incredibly good teams. In any other group, they'd be clear favorites.
I was going to say, you could argue that with Guild, or if you're looking at Mkers, that they're both getting out of most of the other groups. But that's how it goes sometimes. They have the saying, how the cookie crumbles, you got to deal with what you got. And in this case, it's been FUTWIZ doing what needs to be done. And then RB Leipzig back-to-back. If anything, it was last time that we saw them in action, they looked more beatable. Today, they have been so offensive, and relentless.
Again, it's what you expect. A duo that individually is consisting of 2 of the best players internationally at an individual level, 1v1. They both qualify for Champions League. One of them is a world champion. The other one is online world champion, quote unquote, for the community. So expected.
I think we've built them up enough. It's time to talk to Brandon, who's down there with the FUTWIZ boys. They just got this huge result. I'm sure that they're buzzing.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And yes, we can confirm 8 teams in the hat now for London in a few weeks' time in January. Congratulations, gentlemen. You are in the top 8, quarterfinals in the books. How are you feeling right now?
Honestly delighted, especially to that fashion, especially with 3-0 lead. We came 3-1, a little bit of flashbacks to the Leipzig game, but no, I'm very happy to get through with the game to spare.
Yeah, and when that goal did go in at 3-1, NiKSNEB, in the back of your mind, was you like, we're confident, or we're not going to throw it away this time?
I was confident, but you can't get out of your head, so it's one of them. But yeah, I'm just happy it's done.
Well, massive congratulations, because these two just obviously qualified for the E-Champions League a few weeks ago. A very good start to the season. And after quite an unlucky FIFA 22, you know, you were games away from LAN as a duo. It must feel like now the justice is coming through.
Yeah, it's almost like a relief, because I've always battles to be one of the better 2v2 players, but we didn't quite show it, so I'm delighted that we've done it on the main stage now.
And NiKSNEB, back in January, will take on Riders in the quarterfinal. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, game by game, as I said, but yeah, they're a very strong team. Club World Cup winners last year, so yeah, they're very good 2v2, and they've shown that, so yeah, it'll be a good game.
Well, of course, gentlemen, congratulations. Top 8 secure, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks' time, back in January. For now, it's over to Richard, Mike, and Ivan to build up our last game.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Great to hear from the FUTWIZ boys there. A lot of support for Team FUTWIZ, coach, owner, content creator. They're all here, and they got the job done. I'll be honest, when it went 3-1, got a little bit nervous for Team FUTWIZ, because we were in the commentary booth when we saw that result 4-4 against RB Leipzig, but they managed the game really well, Mike.
And it's got to be said, you'd love to see it. I mean, we've been a part of the competitive scene for years on years, like over 5 years. And FUTWIZ has always been that team that was right there on the cusp. We talked about it a little bit on commentary, but they got the job done today.
And we can see some of the best moments from it here.
Corners!
Ivan, talk me through these set pieces, because they were deadly.
I mean, you see the first corner go in. You want to move keeper to defend the second one. Too short, not far enough. And at that point, you're 2-0 down. You have to go for the game. Team FUTWIZ, they play for last attack from the 41st minute.
Oh.
Very, very good reverse step over, far post, green, long shot, Cruyff goes in. And at that point, unless something massively goes against you, you're probably winning this game. You get some rub of the green, if we're talking about Guild Esports here, to make it 3-1. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, and Team FUTWIZ managed to close it out.
It's not easy on the eyes. And I will say this, that finesse shot from long distance after that step over, that might be the goal of the day.
And we can see the results, the full-time results there. RB Leipzig 6-2 against Blue United, Team FUTWIZ 3-1. I just want to say, while we're talking about the top two, when we're talking up these two teams from Group B, RB Leipzig have scored the most goals in the EA Sports Cup. They have the joint most points in the EA Sports Cup, and they are, in my eyes, the best team that we've seen in the EA Sports Cup. And what a game they are setting up against Fnatic. That bracket looks insane, Mike.
I'm here for it. You should be here for it. No one should miss any of these games. I mean, you talk about premium quality, creme de la creme, and I think Fnatic with Tess will rise to the occasion.
We've talked a lot about RB Leipzig and Fnatic. Riders against FUTWIZ is a tough matchup. Nobody wants to match up against Riders.
Also, if you finish first, nobody wants to match against FUTWIZ. They've come second in a group with Guild, Mkers, and RB Leipzig. So they're a very, very good team. And I don't think Riders are particularly happy with that matchup. Obviously, they would rather probably FUTWIZ than RB Leipzig. But either way, you're not happy. But if you win that game, you're probably going far in the tournament.
Why not? Why not go and win it? And why not do we potentially start to see the seeds be sown, shall I say? Got the sewing kit out for this final round of fixtures.
You need to sew that shirt.
Okay, leave it out, personal. It's a massive game. FUTWIZ against RB Leipzig. Potentially start to see a chink in the armour for RB Leipzig if FUTWIZ can take points off of them. It's a big game coming up next. A lot of pride and a lot of confidence to be built upon going into the knockouts.
The EA Sports Cup is presented by PlayStation Tournaments.
Well, welcome back to London for the last time today. And what a treat we have. Not the game we've got ahead of us, because that is one hell of a game, but we've got these two alongside me for the last call of the day. Lisa and Ivan join us for our final game. The group is decided, but what a game we have to talk about, Lisa. I mean, it's RB Leipzig up against FUTWIZ. Last time they played, there was 8 goals in the game. We don't hope that today there can be more, because the pressure's off.
Yeah, exactly. It's a massive game. I'm sure they're both going to have a lot of fun in this game. Sort of, they can play without having any trouble of thinking if they lose, they're out of the competition. So I think it's going to be very, very great.
And Ivan, last time we played, we mentioned there was goals galore, but the way the goals went in, because FUTWIZ were leading 4-0 and then they threw it away.
I think it's an experience thing, right? It was one of the first games of this duo at an international level. They maybe succumbed to the pressure, whereas RB Leipzig, Umut, Anders, very, very good players. They managed to bring it back to 4-4. But now the good thing for both teams is no pressure. You can try out something different. You can test out the waters. They're qualified. They can have fun.
And Ivan hits the nail on the head there, Lisa, about no pressure. What does that mean in terms of what we can see from this game with there being no pressure? Do you think we're going to see more things tried out maybe? Because, you know, both are in the knockouts, both are guaranteed to be through. Is this an opportunity to try something out that they might not have been able to in these high pressure games?
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see something else. Maybe a bit more skill moves, a bit more play with the ball, being able to maybe try something that they wouldn't normally try. And I'm looking forward to it because last time it was 4-0. They were up at half-time, ended up being 4-4. Can they get their revenge and actually get the win that they require?
Well, there is something on this game, Ivan, and that's that these two teams are still unbeaten in this group. There's only one team that went unbeaten all the way through the EA Sports Cup, and that's TGNIP, of course, the duo of Oliboli and Levi David. We could see another unbeaten team here unless this game does end as a draw. So there is something still to celebrate and to talk about on this game.
Yeah, as you said, we have currently 2 unbeaten teams in this group playing against each other, so we'll definitely have at least one keeping it that way. And although the game has no real value for the standings, I think you have Anders on one side and Umut obviously, but Anders, we've seen, he hates losing. Even when the game's drawn, he's agitated, he's angry, he's annoyed. I noticed earlier, they conceded 1 equalizer and Umut waited 5 seconds to kick off from kickoff, just waiting for Anders to kind of finish ranting, let his emotions out to then resume the play. Whereas Team FUTWIZ, they want to show that they can beat RB Leipzig.
Here's an early chance maybe for Team FUTWIZ. Arline there stopped in his track. If I had to put you on the spot, Ivan, and say which team has impressed you more today, is there an answer for that, or have they both just been equally good?
I think RB Leipzig, they're kind of a victim to their own success. They have been so good that even though they're unbeaten and they're top of the group, you would say probably FUTWIZ.
Could be an early start for RB Leipzig. Timed it red, did Arline. The one thing that we can expect from the Lisa is goals. They scored a lot of goals. I think they're the highest goal scoring team are RB Leipzig. They just seem to know where the goal is.
Yeah, exactly. They're very good going forward, but so are FUTWIZ on the flip side. You know, we've seen them in and around the box. They're so unpredictable, and that's why they're in the position where they are now, which is qualifying.
Qualification in the bag. They will top the group. And I guess this is a great opportunity as well, Ivan, to just tee up what is coming, as we said, in terms of there are 8 teams that are going through to the knockout stages. But which one is the more exciting time? Movistar Riders against FUTWIZ, or I think it could be Fnatic RB Leipzig. Obviously, Fnatic came second in their group, which means that they'll play the top of this group, which will be RB Leipzig, no matter the result in this game. Which one's the bigger game?
I think for the... And that's 1-0. That's 1-0. Just like that, green time finish, near post. Again, you see no real emotions because both teams know there's nothing really to play for. But again, you want to win this game. But to answer your question, I think for the FIFA purists out there, those who follow every single game of FIFA Esports, I would say you're looking at Movistar against Team FUTWIZ, just because of the level Movistar riders have shown throughout the years, and FUTWIZ being a new team. But for the general viewership, for the general viewer, I think you're looking at that Fnatic Leipzig derby, that Tess against Anders, that Wonder Kid v Wonder Kid matchup.
Yeah, it's a game that I think we've been waiting for a long time as well. Will be happening in January, as you said. That's when we're back after the Christmas break. But so far in this game, RB Leipzig lead by a goal to Anders Vejrgang opening the account. Jarzinho might add a second onto their tally. 22 minutes played. And it was a great start here. Quite a routine finish for Mbappe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely something that Mbappe does in and around the box. He's got very good shooting. So in and around the box, you expect him to finish, and he did so well there. But it's interesting, actually. Obviously, United Watch said earlier that his emotions got to him with Vejrgang, and I actually saw that in the game earlier. You know, they ended up making it 2-2, I'm pretty sure it was, and he just lost his emotions. And now, like you mentioned, he doesn't have to worry. So you're not really seeing that like joy and pride of every time he scores a goal, he's getting up and celebrating.
Do you think that's just because he is such a perfectionist? He just wants to win that much?
Yeah, I think it means a lot to him. You know, it does for every single player that plays this game. The passion, it means so much to them. Some people don't show it because they worry that they might concede a kickoff goal, for example. But for him, it means so much to him. He's young, he's got something to prove, and he's doing that at the main stage right now.
And that relationship, Ivan, is very interesting between him and Anders. It's clear to see that there is... I'd even go out and say there's a few egos in that. I mean, it's in terms of how they get on with each other. Of course, they're great friends in and out of the game, but in those game moments when it's not going well to them, I can see some words between them.
I do agree, but because they're both so good, you rarely get to those moments. You rarely get to those...
Maybe when they were 4-0 down to FUTWIZ 4 weeks ago.
Push comes to shove, yes. But there you also see I wouldn't say the teamwork as much as the individual brilliance that combines when you play this 2v2 format. Because let's not forget, teamwork is very important, but if you have two players of the caliber of Umut and Anders, whether you're...
Could be a chance for FUTWIZ, just like that. There was goals when they played 4 weeks ago. There was 8 of them in total. And yes, qualification might be in the bag, but there is still an unbeaten streak to keep up with. Back in the game of FUTWIZ.
Again, we expected goals. We had 8 last week, or last time around, last match week. Now we have 2 at halftime. I don't expect 8 goals again. Realistically, we're not expecting that. But 4 or 5, why not? A 3-2 game to end off the group stage, we'll take it.
And again, it's Mbappe, the star of the show. Ball came up to him perfectly. FUTWIZ back in the tie, but maybe not for so long. Here's Jarzinho, here's CR7. No, it's not, it's R9. It's another Ronaldo. I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Anders is laughing. And just like that, the equaliser that was earned from FUTWIZ is wiped away by R9.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the sort of game that we expected coming into it. You know, loads of goals. And we've seen that 39 minutes into the game, 3 goals. And we're seeing the smiles from Anders there. But I was actually going to mention, before they scored, he was shaking his head. And on the flip side, Ethan was laughing. So I think it's a game for them that they can have fun with. And we're seeing that in this game.
2 very attacking sides, just showcasing how good they are in these sort of areas. Deflected. Van der Sar just about does enough there. It was time green from Zidane. Took a bit of power off the shot.
There's a couple of things I've noticed in the gameplay of both teams. RB Leipzig have this this finish that we just saw from Zinedine Zidane, top of the box, green, far post. It worked for them against Blue United, if I'm not mistaken, last game. And here, if it's not blocked, it's potentially a goal. Whereas Team FUTWIZ, here playing last attack like they did last game, can't convert. Team FUTWIZ have this this trademark play where they send a player on the run from the midfield and they lob through ball them in the box. I believe they scored 3 goals today in 3 separate games. So there's a lot to analyze for their opponents in the knockouts come January.
Just as this game is underway, you're also seeing Mkers against Blue United. Unfortunately, there isn't really too much to talk about on that game, other than Blue United maybe, Ivan, getting a win and taking something back to Asia, because unfortunately it's not been the outing they would have wanted to. And am I right to say that they haven't had the outing just because there's a lack of experience playing against maybe these different play styles we are seeing in different continents?
I think there's a lot of factors coming into play here. First of all, it's arguably the toughest group, right? Blue United, you're facing 4 clear favorites for the group, if not for the whole tournament. So we saw that with SPQR already. You're always in 4 groups, you're always going to have 1 or 2 groups with similar standings.
Oh, there's another one. They might have topped the group, Ivan. They might be on 20 points, but they just want more goals.
It's like weekend league for them. They score a goal, green time finish, skip, we move on. No celebration, no nothing. But again, you're kind of enjoying it. You've done your job. You've secured first place in your group. You just want to try and enjoy yourselves in the last casual game in this format that you're going to have in this competition.
Here's FUTWIZ dancing. There's R9. Just on that, Lisa, you see the stats that if it stays like this, they haven't just got unbeaten and, you know, met the heights of TGNIP, but they've set a new record for points in the group stages. That'd be 20 points. Movistar Riders were the team to come closest to that at 17. What a group stage that is. That's from 24 points as well. Maximum that was. They're going to get 20 if they win this.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable. It shows the level that they are, and like you mentioned, they're unbeaten. There's a reason for that, because they're so good. And I feel like going into the next stage of the competition, you're going to be worried playing against them.
And I'll be honest, Ivan, I sit on the... Hello. Oh, what save that is. I sat here sort of when the draw happened for this EA Sports Cup, and I always knew that Umut and Vejrgang are great individual players, but my question mark was always over them as a team. Could they gel? Could they merge? And by God, they've done much more than that, haven't they? They've come into this with the help of RB Leipzig, Daniel, who's been behind them, just merging them together and building this relationship. And whatever they've created at RB Leipzig, what a team, what a force.
I mean, when the game comes out, you never know if a player that's been good on the previous edition will be as good on this edition. But we've seen it this year with the stepovers being back. Anders is back, not that he's been anywhere. And Umut, world champion, riding the wave of confidence.
Absolutely. Well, we said there was another game taking place right now. Blue United were leading, we hear. But where's the goal come back? Is it going to be heartbreak for the Asian side? I think it will be. Mkers, OpTolle And Oliboli find an equaliser.
I don't think it does Blue United any favors either, that moments before the competition began, they saw their favorite national team, Japan, lose out on pens in the World Cup. I think that also, if you're a football fan, if you love your national team, if you love your football, also doesn't help. You go into a tournament with 0 points, you see your national team crash out, your moral, it's not high up there. So I feel for Blue United, but it's experience, right? You take it and you learn, and you come back next time stronger.
No, absolutely. As we said, they were watching it backstage before the action kicked off today. Just on that as well, Lisa, for Blue United, where do you think they have lacked? Because obviously, yes, it's a difficult group, as Ivan says, but they've just not been able to get to the level of the other players here, I don't think.
Yeah, I just mainly think potential chance here. I think it's just mainly down to them not really playing European countries and like playing people in Europe. And I think in general, that's the reason why they're not at the level that they should be, you know, playing against people that are at this level constantly. And I think, to be honest with you, they've got the group of death, haven't they, really? I think all 4 teams above them, you should be seeing them in the round of 16.
Oh, absolutely. And just to get your thoughts, Ivan, as well, question marks over, where did it go wrong for Team Mkers and Guild? They're out, they won't be going through to the knockout stages either.
I think it's similar to what Lisa just said with the European matchups. In this group, you see 4 teams that are technically all from Europe. You could argue Guild aren't a European team, but Guild have dsaanchez, an Argentinian and a Spaniard. But Nicolas lives in Europe, so we can kind of classify him as a European player. So for Blue United, it's very, very tough. And even for Mkers and Guild, you're playing RB Leipzig and Team FUTWIZ. Team FUTWIZ is a very, very underrated team considering their lack of performance, contrary to their abilities, and RB Leipzig are very good. So I think the performances this week, coming prepared and being ready, wow.
Goal back for FUTWIZ. I mean, this game isn't done yet. As we said, both teams are already through. They are in the knockout stages. And in this pause, it might be a perfect chance to ask you guys at home to get involved in the conversation, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. Who do you think goes further in the knockout stages? FUTWIZ, who take on Movistar Riders in January, or RB Leipzig that will take on Fnatic. Remember, that's knockout FIFA, knockout football. Both teams also guarantee themselves $15,000 for getting to the top 8. Who goes further? Let us know in the chat. FUTWIZ or RB Leipzig, regardless of it, they're 2 very difficult games, aren't they, Lisa, back in January?
Yeah, exactly. You don't really want to play neither of them. You know, we talk about Movistar Riders and the way they play. Obviously, people call it boring, but it gets them wins at the end of the day. And then on the flip side, Fnatic, Diogo and Tex, very, very good going forward and defensively, and so unpredictable as Tex. So, to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to play neither of them. Yeah,
a lot of love for FUTWIZ and Leipzig in the chat there. You can see the table on your screen. Just a word on that they come to set standards, they come to set records here, Ivan. RB Leipzig will be setting the point tally record, 20 points. What a group stage it's been from 24, as you said. They've only dropped 4 points.
You expect nothing less from a team consisting of Umut and Anders. Anders, obviously, as we know, weekend league record.
But how well have they done with that pressure as well, Ivan? Because there's a lot of teams that have got big names that haven't gone through into the knockout stages. The chance is another goal. And there's no reaction. Surprise, surprise from Umut and Vejrgang. But how good is that, knowing the pressure that's on them? Or is it expected? You just said it was expected.
For me, it was expected in a way, just because of the sheer individual quality. I keep repeating it, but it's true. One thing you also have to take into account is when you are facing RB Leipzig, you know you are facing the world champion and Anders. So even if they don't gel immediately, their opponents are not ready to pounce on those inaccuracies that they might be having, those lapses of concentration or whatever it may be.
And is it like that, Lisa? Is it in terms of, you know, football cliches aside, but when you go to a European giant, so to speak, and before the game's even kicked off, you're nervous? Is that the feeling that you think Umut and Anders maybe give to the rest of the tournament here and some of the teams in this group?
Yeah, I think with the accolades they have, you know, they're very, very good, and you know that shows with obviously being the world champion and the sort of the star, you know, in Anders. And I think anyone that plays them is worried, thinking that they're going to get beat by quite a big scoreline. But I think that on the flip side, they're favourites by a mile, and sometimes that gives you a bit of pressure, knowing that you have a lot of expectation on you, and if you fail to provide and end up losing a couple of games, that'll be in your mind. So I think that's massive for them.
Last thought for you, Ivan. there's going to be one team that's not going to be scared of playing, and they'll play them in January, and that is going to be Fnatic. Diogo and Tex, last chance of the game from RB Leipzig. They're going to be up for that game, aren't they, when it comes round?
I think they'll be prepared. I think you have 1 month to prepare. You're going to watch all the games back, and you'll be ready for every trick in the book. I think the meta is going to develop, and you best be sure that they're going to come ready in the competition.
Well, as you can see, RB Leipzig advanced to the bracket, but so did the team on the opposite side of the screens in FUTWIZ. What they have done, though, RB Leipzig, they have set the record straight. 20 points from 24, the most convincing knockout, group stage we have seen at all across all of the groups here in London across the 8 weeks. 20 goals scored. Oh, sorry, more than 20 goals scored. 20 points on the board, unbeaten, joining the likes of TG, NIP, and overall, just a really, really good group outing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially going into the last game, that they didn't really need to win the game, did they? But they wanted to prove to everyone that they are at the top and they are unbeaten going into the next stage, which is massive.
And how far can both of these two teams go?
I'm personally rooting for RB Leipzig because they are in our conference for eClub World Cup. So I want to see them get to the final, get that Club World Cup spot, free one up for us, and I'm happy.
And would you say overall this group delivered, Lisa? It was the group of death, many called it. Back when we did the group draw, a lot of people saying they didn't want to be in the same group as RB Leipzig. Safe to say it's lived up to that expectation, would you say?
Yeah, exactly, especially with it basically coming down to the fourth round, obviously them clinching it there against Guild. But I think, I mentioned earlier, all four of them could have gone through, especially, obviously commiserations to Blue United, but I think all four of them could have been in January.
Well, a massive thank you to Lisa and for Ivan for joining us on these broadcasts along the past 8 weeks. Wishing you both a lovely Christmas break. But for now, for the final time, we're going to go down to Richard and Mike. They're joined by two special guests. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I'm joined by a plethora of special guests. The main team, the #1 team from the group stages here to my right. And also, you can see an opponent, a formidable foe.
Diego was just in-house. He was in-house, so we brought him in.
Yeah, we'll get to that matchup very shortly indeed, but I have to ask firstly, what a group performance. You said you were going to win all the games, and you nearly did.
I mean, we tried. In the first week, we played mostly 5 at the back, and I knew, we got 8 points, and we were still #1, but I knew that we could play so much better. So, in the last week, we have been together and practice. So we have practiced forward 2 a lot, and today we tried forward 2, and I think we was much better today, and I'm very happy that we got the first place.
Umut, a great performance at the end there against FUTWIZ, ending on top. We can have a look at some of the best moments from that game and what got you over the edge here. Talk me through some of these highlights that we're seeing.
Yeah, before the game we have to say it was not that important the game, but here you can see I green, the goalkeeper was really close to me, so it don't have to be a goal. Here, really great skill move from FUTWIZ, so really great goal. And after that, I think it's like kind of the same goal. Again, step overs. Of course, step overs one of the best skill moves this year. You can see it a lot in our game style. And here again, Anders step over, green time finish, goal. Like the goals look like every time the same. Here, Anders moved the goalkeeper very good, but that's really lucky how this ball go in. You can see it here, our reaction. So at the end, in the 80th minute, the deciding goal with Alo Evran, and the game was not that important, so we played a little bit chill, but it was a great match against FUTWIZ.
And Diogo, of course, we're happy to have you here. Just a coincidence, it worked out this way. So this is the upcoming matchup. Have you already talked to Tex? What's going through your mind? I like that. That's what I'm talking about, that type of energy.
I mean,
you can shoulder him back.
No, I'm just more worried about them. Like, you guys should have finished second. But nah, honestly, I think we're a harder matchup than the first place in our group. But I do think the semi-finals easier on our side, I would say. So it makes sense why you would want to finish first. But yeah, I think the winner of our game probably gets to the final.
And I talked to Tex a little bit when you guys qualified, and he said, well, I kind of hope we get Leipzig. Did you feel the same way with that energy, or is that maybe just Tex like putting on a little bit?
Nah, yeah. I mean, I'd rather have a harder quarterfinal on paper and then have, I guess, an easy road. Also, like, I'm not scared of anyone. With all due respect, Umut and Anders, I'm not scared. And I'm sure Donny isn't scared either, so we'll be fine. And
normally you guys are under the most pressure because of everybody's got their eyes on you. It might be a little bit different in this circumstance. Could that work to your advantage?
No. I don't really care about that. Like, whatever. If we're the underdogs or not, with all due respect, I do not think we're the underdogs here. But yeah, no, I don't really care.
I mean, any game that Anders is involved in, surely there's an underdog. Anders, what do you think to Fnatic? Is it going to be an easy win?
Of course not. They're a really good team. Yeah, it will be hopefully a great match. But yeah, I hope we will win.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Honestly, I can't wait to see it. Mike, this is going to be an absolute cracker. We have had some crackers today as well. And as always, we're going to end with our goals of the week.
Let me walk you through this top 5. We had a lot of goals to be remembered, and it kick-starts with a beautiful switch of the pitch, a bit more of a team goal. We got Pele working, going for that end line, able to pull it back, extra pass, and Mbappe kind of started the day. And it was a day of having a lot of goals being scored, a lot of goals being conceded. Number 4, let me tell you a story, let me paint that picture. We got Capdevia, he's working with the step-overs, that's been a theme. Zidane, Ruud Gullit, give me some more. R9 with a step over with the added feint, added benefits. Give me that package. And then we're going to continue. We got the likes of Gullit again in the midfield, doing what he does best. Jarzinho looking for options, finds options. Ruud Gullit, step over. Zidane, 5-star, weak foot. It's time green. It's outside of the box. It is emphatic. It's got a little bit of that extra sauce and that extra emphasis. I got love for it. Can you tell? Look at that pick out. And this is the only goal in that game, and FUTWIZ needed that result. Talk about a clutch factor. Capdevia again, been a theme down that left side. Fake step over. What else you got for me? R9, resurface. Cruyff pulls it back. Green time finish. Long distance. Range is not a question. He has the answer.
Think about the job.
Do you want to lay down? I mean...
I'm feeling good. Excelente. I'm going to start speaking Spanish for you. Vamos.
Please don't. Please don't.
Okay.
Keep it to English. They were the goals of the week. Mike LaBelle picked them out, as you can see. He got very passionate about those goals of the week.
We are stand by your choices.
We're joined also with Brandon Smith. Brandon, it was a fantastic group. We saw 2 teams go through who maybe you predicted at the top of the day. What have you thought to Group B?
I thought, coming into it, we knew it was the group of death, a very difficult group. We were expecting a lot from RB Leipzig, and I said it in commentary. The pressure they had on them, they delivered with it. They've set the record for the most points in the group. They are also the only other unbeaten team alongside TGNIP. I think it was always RB Leipzig that were in there. We just didn't know who that +1 was going to be.
Well, the group standings are finished. We are wrapped up. Hashtag bracket chat 2023, because that's where we're going, Mike LaBelle. We have a completed 8. Complexity Gaming against PSG Esports. RB Leipzig against Fnatic. Riders taking on FUTWIZ. Focus against Team Gullit. Ninjas in Pajamas. Mike, I have to come to you. What a top 8.
I couldn't ask for a better setup. And did we talk about complexity at all? North America, only representative, super biased. We're just coming through with all of that material.
Brandon, top 8.
I mean, Mike's right, the only team outside of Europe is complexity. But coming into today, I thought Focus TGNIP was the game. I've got to say, that Fnatic RB Leipzig game, that is the game of the round.
Okay. I want to know who is going to win the EA Sports Cup. I'll come to you second.
All right, I'm ready to go. I already teased it. I know where I'm headed.
You're a fence sitter. I know you're a fence sitter.
Yeah,
Who's
get off
winning?
the fence, hop up the banister, say it with your chest.
RB Leipzig, RB Leipzig, RB Leipzig.
They're looking at him. They're looking at him right
RB
now.
Leipzig.
NA all day. Complexity's taking it home. Second time they're winning a world championship title.
Riders. I think they're going to do it. Club World Cup champions. I think they're going to do it again. We have to say thank you to everybody who has made this possible. EA, Esports Engine, everybody at home watching. And we'll be back in 2023 with the only way we know how. FIFA Esports. See you soon. Have a great Christmas.